You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
I accidentally watched All Night Long instead of the actual episode.
God damn it, me.
Welcome to Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I am your host, not the Outlaw LA Red. I am at Byron Fever. And to my right is the Professor Casey at Lucha Gringo. And right below us is at Meefloaf. Welcome to the show. You can find the whole show, by the way, at MMM Show 75 across all social platforms. But right now, right here, you cannot find the Outlaw LA Red, Justin Harvey, because of a very specific reason, and I will now pass it along to Casey.
Okay, so I am passing this information along. I have a statement right here. Look, it hurts me to say this, but we have to do it. We at Masks, Mats, and Mayhem LLC would like to address recent allegations towards one Outlaw LA Red, aka Justin Harvey, for having the worst opinions on wrestling ever.
Objectively
wrong about Sting. You see, we took a vote, and not liking Sting is a bannable offense on this show. So I'm sorry to tell you, those of you that listen for Justin, you can listen to whatever podcast he creates, the He-Man Sting Haters Club, whatever he calls it. He's not going to be on the show anymore. We would also like to publicly disavow one Kevin Kleinrock of the Lucha Central Podcast Network, Lucha Central, and Mass Republic for the grilled cheese debacle. While we cannot legally distance ourselves from him because they're the ones paying for us to host this podcast, we're just going to say we really don't like what he does with grilled cheese.
It's
terrible. So, in conclusion, this week's Wall of Shame includes one, Kevin Kleinrock, because he's never leaving for that sandwich thing, and one former host of the MMM show, the Outlaw LA Red, a.k.a. Justin Harvey. Also, we are owed money on some kind of deal with Lucha Underground. Someone's in the chat asking us if we started already. What the fuck is that? Like, of course we started. It's time. And yeah, that's about it. So it will be a cold day in hell before you ever see Justin Harvey on this show again.
I do have a question though.
Sting,
is he allowed back if he draws a picture of Sting in crayon, showing Sting's amazing bulge?
That is a possibility, but he has to remember how Sting had that like special PP cover on some of his gear. He needs to draw that. And again, the rules state that the crayons have to be Crayola, and I bet Justin likes rose art better because his opinions are garbage, and it will be a cold day in hell before you ever see him on this show again. Justin Harvey, you're fired. It will be, I repeat, a cold day in hell before we see Justin Harvey on this show again.
Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I'm your host, the Outlaw LA Red. That up there is at Professor Lucha Gringo Casey, angry guy. Sorry, man. What do you want?
We already started.
Satellite beamed me into the show, even though you've banned me just because Sting friggin' sucks. It's not my fault that Sting is such an awful piece of crap that he ruined the entire AEW broadcast, that there was no purpose in him being out there talking in his cowboy accent with snow coming down and face paint fixing his hairline, whatever the hell it was that he was out there doing with Shivani. Boring. Garbage.
Boy, dude. He's from Saugus. He doesn't have a cowboy accent.
He surely did this week.
Oh, there are cowboys out here, dude.
Whatever,
that's
man.
True. We are
Sting
the. It was the.
Does this mean Justin isn't going to do the Crayola picture of Sting?
Here's something to think about, though.
You can leave me on the wall of shame until the end of time. I'm never, ever going to let you people believe that there's any merit. That there's any merit to Steve Williams doing anything on television for any wrestling promotion.
Well, first of all, motherfucker, I'm Steve Williams. That face painted son of a bitch is Steve Borden.
Steve, whatever. Steve,
also, like, I don't know if you guys remember, but I have a mild meteorological background, and Sting walks to the ring now when it snows. So you have to assume he has some control over that. Justin hates Sting. Where's Justin? Cleveland. What happened recently to Cleveland? It snowed a lot.
Maybe it's a sensitive subject.
Ice cold Sting using his fucking Storm from X-Men powers to make it snow, or Iceman. Either one could have done it. Either one.
Storm wouldn't have done it because she's shit.
But you know what, Meef? This isn't an X-Men podcast, unfortunately. So,
Oh,
not an X-Men podcast. Who's everyone's favorite X-Man? Come on, mine's Wolverine. Come on,
Wolverine is the default, but you have to have the runner-up. That's the one you choose because everyone's
Sabretooth.
No, Sabretooth never should have been on the team. Look, Wolverine with a shout out to my boy Nightcrawler. Love. I
was going to say Nightcrawler is probably one of my favorites. But Wolverine when he's like doing the I don't know, some of that. Okay, there was I don't even remember what it was, like X-Men 298 or somewhere in there, I want to say, where Wolverine was out on that planet like fighting these aliens, and like his body just kept getting destroyed and regenerating over and over again. That's so friggin' epic. Probably one of my favorite 5 panels in a comic book ever. So it's really hard not to say Wolverine, just because literally that one moment is such a genius moment of comic book writing. Like, hey, this guy's tissue can regenerate, right? What if we just shred him down to nothing repeatedly for like 5 pages of this mag? It was genius.
Is that the one where he goes to get era. Charles Xavier and Magneto there, and he fights Saurian? Is it? Yeah. Or is that he goes to another world for that one?
You guys, first of all, the UK had a bunch of fake comics, and they were
yeah. Well, the thing is here it was so hard to actually collect them. So, like, by the time I was a kid, it was like just the back end of the X-Men runs. Oh, obviously it's continued, but 20 years of X-Men had already happened, and you just couldn't get back issues that easy.
So, I have a question for you guys. Can I get to the important stuff? Because there's some important stuff this week. This is going to be an interesting episode. We've got a bunch of stuff lined up. First of all, there's this huge kerfluffle going on with Lucha Underground, AAA, Lucha Libre, FMV. Want to kind of unpack that if anyone can, because let me tell you, it's the strangest thing ever. We'll get to that in a minute. Then we've got Triplemania, which didn't suck. I will say that.
That wasn't a bad match, really.
Yeah. We've got, we're going to talk a little bit about the Omega effect this week going on, and some AEW stuff, and obviously Triplemania. So we're dealing with Kenny Omega there. AEW, Kenny Omega, way better segments than whatever Sting did. And then also this week is the very first episode of Lucha Underground where I was there. So I'm stoked about that. It's the return of Drago, the desolation of Smog Drago, or whatever they called this episode. So we've got that to talk about.
This winner.
Yeah, this is the. I even broke out the old school Lucha Underground hat, my very first and one of the few pieces of merchandise that they actually got some money from me. I don't know who currently owns my hat because I'm probably being sued for wearing it right now. But I got okay. Let me try to unpack this for people. There's Productions Antonio Pena. That is the company that owns AAA. But Lucha Libre FMV, which is Lucha Libre Factory Made Ventures, is another company that owns the rights to pretty much all of the IP of AAA. And was then allowing PAP to use the licenses in Mexico, and thusly is entitled to a certain percentage of everything that is used outside of Mexico. Okay, super confusing. And you want to know what the other confusing part about this is? These companies are all the same people. And they're basically suing each other, other than one or two people, one side or the other. Hey, come here, Simon. Why are you crying? Come here. My kitty cat is crying.
Everyone has cats.
Simon.
No one ever gets to see my guy. Hi, Simon. Can you say hi? Can you say
Simon?
No? Okay.
Meow.
Get out of here, Simon. Go do
Yeah,
something
he's
fun with
appalled by
life.
your opinions on Sting and refuses to speak on the podcast.
He's kicking off.
Yeah,
It's
he
hard,
is.
Also, it's hard to compare Kenny to Sting's promos right now because one of them has given up cocaine decades ago, and the other one I think just took it up.
Just
It's his new energy drink supplement, dude. It's that.
That's totally what it is. Guarana is evil, man. Ginkgo bilboa or whatever that stuff is will put the hurt on you.
Man, I gotta say though, the people that are different on the FMV are the people that invested a lot of money and are very lawyer happy. From what I understand.
Look, Fogelman is with Lucha Libre FMV. As well as QA and Alex Garcia, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think Alex Garcia is for sure. Yeah.
And Dorian, up until October 28th, was also a part of Lucha Libre FMV, which kind of kept the peace and kept everything moving. The other guys were just kind of like, look, Dorian, can you just go make some money? Like, he did the whole thing so that he could kind of break away from what was going on with AAA. And so he could, he really had these visions of bringing Lucha Libre to America. And he thought that there was a big place for it in the market here after, the success that WCW and WWE had here. Like, why not have a full Lucha Libre thing here, which is part of where Lucha Underground came from. And, as much as we bash Dorian, he deserves a little bit of credit for the vision of the fact that he wanted to be the cool guy. He wanted to bring it here, and he's a good salesman. He went into a lot of rooms, pitched this Lucha Underground idea, got people involved. But yeah, he may have signed some not so great ideas because he's not the money guy. He had to get the money from everyone else, and Fogelman had a little bit of the U.S. marketplace know-how. So, and Fogelman also had interest in El Rey. So you get this weird, crazy tie-up of things of, look, AAA and Lucha Libre, as we know it today, would not be where it is without Dorian Roldan getting involved with Lucha Libre FMV. You'd still have regular old AAA, all these luchadors that we think are the greatest thing in the world right now. Nobody would know who they are. I don't care what you think. Nobody would know who they are because they'd be just like Pentagon was, getting buried in the low mid card against Aussie Suicide for years on end. They'd all be like that. These guys would not be at the top of the card. They would not be your favorites. Lucha Libre would not be what it is, 7 years later from the formation of Lucha Libre FMV. However, these guys, if you haven't heard the news, Dorian has left Lucha Libre FMV. I don't know the specifics of it. I don't know if he was bought out or if he just let it go or what. We knew that a lot of these contracts were starting to come due and things were starting to shift and change a little bit. So he decided to, for some reason, or got pushed out, don't know, leave that portion of the company. So people are asking, well, these deals have always been in place. Why would this have been any different now? Why is it different than, when they were doing Twitch, this, that, and the other thing? It's different now because it was all the same guys, but now one of the guys, a key guy, has left Lucha Libre FMV, which is the owner of all the IP of Lucha Underground, if you don't know. They own all the characters, the whole concept of Lucha Underground. They don't necessarily own the airing rights, but at some point in time, there's three sections of rights. There's the intellectual property, which Lucha Libre FMV owns. There is the production rights to make it into a television product that has nothing to do with touring or merchandise or any of that stuff, which is why you never saw that stuff when it came to the TV show. And everyone was yelling at Van Wagner and this, that, and the other guys. He wasn't in charge of that. They only had the TV production rights. Then El Rey Network had the first run airing rights. So they don't own the syndication rights. They own the first run and a certain amount of reruns, the rights to that. So they are the destination until their contract would run out, where you would have to air any first run Lucha Underground. At least they'd have the first right of refusal. So they put money into it. So they're putting money into it on that side to be the network that runs it. MGM is really just a company that's contracted to make the show, to hire the writers, to hire the staff, to make everyone work, to make they make the actual physical production. And Lucha Libre FMV owns all the ideas. That is the power structure just for Lucha Underground. When it comes to AAA, it's even more confusing than that, because you've got PAP, which is the Pena company, basically. Then you've got Lucha Libre AAA or whatever their name is, which is basically the actual promotion, who's in charge of TV productions, this, that, and the other thing. But currently, the actual promotion itself doesn't own any of the IP, technically. And then you've got Lucha Libre FMV, which was this company that was created to basically take the ideas from AAA and spread them out to the world. But they basically own all the intellectual property at this point. And what happens is Dorian leaves that company, which is actually the big company, thinking that he can now turn PAP into the big company because him and the Pena family own that. So he starts making these deals with Marvel and this, that, and the other thing. Fogelman and Garcia and Q8 knew about that stuff from the start, by the way. They knew about all those deals that Dorian was doing. These things aren't secret. But now Dorian is out, and they're like, oh, but wait a minute, youngster. Wait a minute there, young whippersnapper. You're going to pay us for all those things that you're doing. Because guess what? This company over here that you used to be a part of, even though we're parts of these other companies, but this company over here, we own the actual rights to everything that company over there does outside of Mexico. Everywhere. So now they're in this quandary of basically Lucha Libre US is suing Lucha Libre Mexico for money. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that is that Marvel is a company outside of Mexico. So any deal that they struck with Marvel is kind of under their jurisdiction. Maybe we'll find out when the lawsuit's over.
When it sells out of court.
And there's weird things too, like Lucha Libre FMV as a company were the investors in Lucha Underground. They put up the initial investment, and they did eventually make back a large portion of their money. They did not, however, make back of their money. So that means literally, as a company, they're in the red. They've spent more than they've made. And they have invested a lot in it. And honestly, at this point, as much as I don't necessarily like the individuals involved, I feel that they are actually entitled to some pieces of this. They put in good money. I don't think you'd have a Marvel deal right now if it weren't for that. I don't think that you would have some of the exposure you have right now. I don't think they would have had the popularity on Twitch or YouTube that they had right now. They were a Mexican-based product that was not getting any traction here in the U.S. They just simply weren't.
UK.
Or I mean, Lucha Libre FMV did its job in the fact that it disseminated AAA ideas to the world. And now they're coming calling for a paycheck. I also don't think that this is as big a problem as people think. These guys do all know each other. This is not personal. This is purely business. This is the way things run. Because when you can't go into a boardroom and you can't sit down and handshake and say, bro, you got to pay this and you got to pay this and have everyone actually agree, which is the way they tried to do things for a long time, but it didn't work out great. You get the courts involved and you rattle the cages a little bit. And then it's going to scare companies like Marvel and some of the other sponsors who are looking at, like, you know, if you're a ring sponsor for AAA, you don't just want people in Mexico to see that. You know, how many of us wanted to go out and buy a Little Caesars pizza here in America after Triplemania yesterday? Probably all of us.
Never.
A Little Caesars? No. Anyway, but it's good advertising. And when it goes international, that's not bad for them either. But they're going to get shaken. What I don't think you have to worry about, you know, Lucha Blog, who has, by the way, deserves complete credit for being the one to crack the entire story. But legal stuff and TV rights and this, that, and the other thing, not necessarily his specialty. I don't think that there's any cause for concern that any of these companies will fold. Part of what's happening here is El Rey Network recently parted ways with Univision. And Univision leaving basically made them have to open up the books at all of these places because everyone wants to see where there's money left, where they can make money. El Rey is in dire straits to basically monetize quickly, or to clear debt and clear things off the books that may slow them down. Because if they want to stay a network, they've lost a big backer and investment partner and someone who can, help with carriage deals, even though it actually did hurt them in the long run with things like Sling and DirecTV and Dish and whatnot. It actually hurt El Rey Network. But, having that big backer behind them is gone now. So it caused them at El Rey to have to open up their books, and sitting on their books still is Lucha Underground as content and programming that they have first run rights to. It's a commodity. It doesn't mean that they can do anything with it. It doesn't mean that they can put enough money into it themselves to get it up and running to make them more money, but it means that they do have to look at it. It's something on their books, which causes kind of a domino effect of then you've got Dorian looking at his options and when he can get out and what his contracts say. You've got MGM trying to figure out what their airing rights are and if they can get the airing rights from El Rey when their rights lapse and then maybe do something with it. But over at MGM, you've got other issues. Mark Burnett is under siege from within inside the company, and the entire company could get sold at any point in time. So I doubt that Lucha Underground is even partially on Mark Burnett's radar. And so
hopefully Disney buy it and it'll just, sort everything out.
Maybe, but then also they only have the rights to be the producer of it. They don't own the IP of Lucha Underground, and Disney is not in the habit of creating shows for things they don't own the intellectual property to. Disney is a smarter company than that. It's a very, very weird situation, and it still stems back to that there's too many chefs in the kitchen. So what I expect, and you guys can tell me what you think, but what I expect is going to happen out of this lawsuit is it'll never go to court. It'll be settled, and some new agreements are going to come into play. I think that Lucha Libre FMV probably wants to sell whatever they own at this point. I think they probably want to just go back to being factory-made ventures, get out of Lucha Libre altogether. I think they want to sell the IP to Lucha Underground. I think they want to sell back to Dorian Roldan and AAA and PAP Productions any of the IP for the things that are in AAA. I think that Dorian will probably have to go out and find yet another backer and financier to be able to do that. I don't think AAA or PAP is liquid enough, especially in a COVID year, to do anything about that themselves. I do not think, however, that you will see some outside investor come in and take things over and try to make them themselves. I also think that's
when I buy the Cuerno.
You cannot.
They're going to sell off. They're going to sell it off
bit
piece
by
piece, literal piece by piece.
I will literally buy the Cuerno rights for the world.
I mean, go ahead, Case.
I'll give him a grand straight off the bat.
I think the Marvel stuff is going to get shit canned pretty much immediately, but I thought that from when it started anyway. I don't think it's a good idea, and I don't think it's an idea that they need to keep going with in particular. So I consider it a possibility that this might have been the only time that we see these Marvel characters, but we'll talk about that later when we talk about.
I mean, it could be, I don't know.
There seemed to be a little thing at the end of that match.
Disney may insist on it. Disney may have paid good money to have this thing happen, and they may not have a choice about continuing it. I don't know.
So this is out of left
like
field.
The Kiss Demon.
When you think of someone who has the money, my vacuum is yelling at me. Someone who has the money, even in COVID. What if I haven't worked since March? I don't have money. What if Vince? I mean, and I don't know how it would work, but what if Vince in WWE bought Lucha Underground and put those episodes on the network?
I think Vince would have to know what it was first, and that's not
but like, what if
Let's
he
message
finds
him
out?
Well, that would actually be almost one of the best case scenarios, because WWE is a company that would actually, if they bought Lucha Libre FMV, would know what to do with the IP. But here's the crazy thing. If WWE were to purchase LLFMV, they would pretty much own AAA completely at that point in time.
Yeah, they won't do it though. They're too cool with the Pena family. They're nice to them and they'll play nice. Vince would have to be dead for anything like that to happen.
I mean, or they would have to need it. If Dorian and Marcelo were reaching out to Vince and saying, save our company, I could see it there of him buying it and maybe, you know, letting them run it still and do their thing in Mexico, and then he'd get some rights to the American stuff. And honestly, that could be a very good thing for the product, something like that, because he would basically become syndication for all their stuff outside of Mexico, and they'd get a nice, healthy chunk of money. I don't know that kind of
kickback on. Yeah. But like a lot more viewers would probably tune in to watch the back catalog they'd have it and whatever.
Yeah, it would be kind of a happy friendship thing, similar to almost what you see with Invicta and UFC, where UFC doesn't own Invicta, but they've helped them out so much and put them on Fight Pass and distribute the pay-per-views and help them with promotion and this, that, and the other thing. And then what do they get? They have a great pipeline for up and coming female talent, or a place to send female talent when they're not cutting it on the big show, and give them some more time. So it's, you know, AAA could almost be a minor leagues and a syndication property for someone like WWE. However, I believe that you guys are also correct in the fact that I don't think Vince has any clue what Lucha Underground is.
No.
I think it would more be, if he did it,
Triple H is really excited.
It would be for the AAA IP, and I really only believe, I don't believe that he would have any interest in that IP himself. He's plenty good enough at creating his own IP that makes tons and tons of money. Don't think he's interested in anyone else's IP at this point. He would probably only be doing it as a favor and to have the syndication rights. But it is what it is.
Well, he's taken some indies and thrown them on the network.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's making money off of that, or if that was him sort of trying to have a bit of a alternative brand to distract from AEW.
I think it's to do with his some of the guys they signed, isn't it? Really, to showcase what they've done before and previously, like
Walter.
Yeah, like all the UK guys, and there was like
the library, yeah,
and because they went after TNA's library at one point, didn't they? They were really going to go for that when they got that initial kind of AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and all those signees.
Yeah, and they don't need the IP. They don't need the properties themselves. These guys either come in owning their identities, and they can just tag onto it there and make those guys give those identities over or take new identities. Really, the library is the most valuable thing, and that TNA library is probably the most valuable library right now outside of WWE. And believe me, they're doing everything they can find to do with it. There's, classic Impact and all these old TNA events that are on the air all the time. Plus, they use the footage in the show. They're trying to showcase their heyday as much as they possibly can all the time. I don't know that they're leveraging it very well, in my opinion, but
I think they even license it to WWE, at least for their documentaries.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's wild that Triple H came out and said we're open for business, and everyone was like, "Yeah, I know what that means when you say it." But WWE has worked arrangements with Impact, with TNA. I mean, they traded. They let Christian Cage be inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame, so they could get a guy from TNA to come on to WWE. They've done some sort of handshake deal with them, and they were the top two at the time.
Yeah, and it makes sense. It's part of like what I was saying with Invicta and UFC. It's like, there is some merit to working with some of the other people out there. It helps keep the pipeline smooth. So the moral of the story is there's a lot to unpack here. Shoot me a message if you want to know more. I've reached out to a lot of the parties involved to talk to people at El Rey and MGM, and I don't expect to hear from Dorian's people anytime soon, but I sent a request for official comment. I don't think anyone's getting comments at this point in time, but it's really a strange environment. This is big Lucha Underground news. I personally believe that this may be the actual nail in the coffin for Lucha Underground. We've said that a lot of these contracts and whatnot are coming up, but I believe what happens here is this type of thing is going to make MGM lose interest, and you're not going to get a Lucha Underground without MGM being willing to make a Lucha Underground. I don't believe another production company can actually make the show other than WWE or MGM. So I think now that El Rey is probably going to fade away from it, and Dorian is out of owning Lucha Underground in any fashion now, because he only owns, he's only a part owner in PAP and AAA now. So, and all of the IP for Lucha Underground is with Lucha Libre FMV. So officially, nobody who really makes the show owns any of the show anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that may be the nail in the coffin for Lucha Underground. I think this might be it. I don't know that you'll ever see it come back at this point, unless they sell it off to somebody else who does a hacky version, or unless MGM tries to buy just those particular IP, but I don't think they will. I think they're too disinterested now with all of their own inner workings that they have to deal with, and they've all sadly moved on, and it will just be looked at fondly by them. But that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Rest in peace, Lucha Underground.
I still would love to have a similar type of wrestling presentation. Also,
there's one on Crackle. It's not good.
No, it's not.
It's really, really bad.
It's almost like I told everyone it would suck before seeing it and was right.
It's an Australian one.
I'd love to see a similar presentation done well.
There you go.
Proviso.
It's better.
And it'd be great. It would be great if it was Lucha Libre based, and helped bring that to the forefront again. But it'd be great to have a cinematic wrestling show focused on stories and characters, and production value.
Yeah,
so
I agree. And we'll see. I'll keep you guys posted as I start to reach out to the players involved. But it's pretty easy to figure out if there's any interest from the main players. Like, a few of the key people have to want to make Lucha Underground for it to come back. You need a Skip to want to make it. You need an Eric Van Wagenen to want to make it. You need, hopefully, Eric Van Wagenen to rope in a Krista Joseph to make it. And sadly, I feel like you needed Dorian Roldan to make it, and he's no longer involved. So I just don't know, but we'll see. Look, like I said, we got a great show coming up today. We were going to talk about some Triplemania. We're going to talk about an awesome episode of Lucha Underground. And we're going to talk a little bit more about AEW when we get back. So please stick with us. But right now, we're going to send it over to Denise Salcedo and Lucha Central to tell us about everything that's happening this week on the Lucha Central Podcast Network, except for Mutter Show.
Hey everyone, it's Denise Salcedo here in Lucha Central with a reminder of where and when to catch all of the great network content this week. Get the full lineup and listen to all of our shows in the podcast network section of luchacentral.com. Sundays on the Lucha Central Facebook page, world-traveled shooter of the camera kind, Jerry Villagrana goes mano a mano with a fellow photographer to throw down about some of their favorite photos they have taken at Lucha Libre events. Monday, Business of the Business returns as Mass Republic President Kevin Kleinrock takes you inside how your favorite Lucha Libre merchandise gets made. On Tuesdays, Mass Mats and Mayhem takes you inside the world of Lucha Underground as they take you weekly through the series with the benefit of hindsight and the benefit of special guests from the groundbreaking series. Check out the premiere video stream every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on the Lucha Central YouTube channel and at luchacentral.com. Then listen to it on your favorite podcast platform every Wednesday. Tuesday nights live, it's Wrestle Boss, where Favi Chulo talks MMA and pro wrestling with special guests and listener call-ins. Visit WrestleBossLive.com Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific to listen live or call in with questions, or download the show on podcast platforms on Wednesdays. Wednesday nights live on Facebook, it's Spanish show La Mesa de los Márgaros, giving you both the news and the chisme from around the lucha world. Special guests and a whole lot of fun make it one of the most talked about shows in Mexico. Thursdays, it's straight out of the bodega with Papo Esco and PWR promoter Gabriel Ramirez, as they have guests from throughout the wrestling world pull up to give an inside look into their careers. From indie standouts to television superstars, each week brings a new name and perspective. On Friday, it's your double dose of Lucha Central Weekly podcast, one in English y el otro en español. Lucha Central Weekly is where you'll find all the top stories of the week, both inside and out of the ring from Mexico and anywhere luchadores are in action across the globe. Be sure to subscribe and follow all your favorite Lucha Central Network series on your favorite podcast platforms, either by their own series name or subscribe to the Lucha Central Podcast Network show pages to get all of the shows in one easy feed. And please consider giving a rating to help more fans find the shows that you love. For now, this is Denise Salcedo signing off from Lucha Central Central. Have a great week.
Thanks, Denise. Can I start with that?
Yeah,
how's that
break?
How's your penis on Cyberpunk, Denise?
Can I say this? Can I just cut out the middleman and say the important thing this time? I shave my balls with a lawnmower 3.0 from www.manscaped.com, where you too can receive 20% off with code MMM in the UK, Australia, US, and the 51st state of Canada. If you would like, just use code MMM. And I'm serious. I actually used the thing. I used it yesterday. I did.
Wow, what do you got going on today?
Today, dude, I got Telly Savalas today, bro. I am like, what?
5 o'clock shade.
I am like, you know how you shine a bowling ball? You do this, you do this, you do this. Not a shake weight meet, not a shake weight. Shining a bowling ball.
No. The Jesus
the
from
towel.
Lebowski.
Jesus
the towel.
From Lebowski. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
I used a little bit of crop preserver down there to deodorize my whole region. My area smells great, nice and clean and shiny. Everything is well kept down there. And I'm feeling good.
Dun.
Does that make sense?
That's good because you're feeling good because they're looking good, they're smelling good, they're crack-a-lacking against each other like they should be. There's no hair deafening the smack. Yeah. And let me tell you, if you're one of those people playing Cyberpunk 2077, you might notice there's a lot of pubic hair customization in that game, and you might want to say, maybe I should give myself the lightning bolts that I gave my dude in Cyberpunk.
Right.
The Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0's got those precision edges, so you can get those lightning bolts in there, dog.
Yeah.
And the light to help you.
With the guide light and the advanced skin safe technology, that would be the tool to get it done.
It helps. It's useful if you're in Cleveland and your power goes out. It's useful if you're in Los Angeles and it's still hot as hell in December and your balls are sweating. Dude,
are you batwinging out there in LA?
What?
Are you
There's some dude in the
LA
Royal
right
Mail office using mine.
I use the crop preserver, bro. I don't batwing.
Yeah, I'm not batwinging. Thanks to our incredible sponsorship at www.manscaped.com. Promo code MMM show.
Promo code
And
yes, that was done intentionally. Don't forget also foot duster. If your feet stank, you need to get them stanky feet. You put the stank foot on it. You get that. You get the foot duster. You're in good shape.
Got that shit right here, dog. Got that shit right here.
Kate, Meef had a fun little anecdote he shared during the Triplemania.
An anecdote?
I ask everybody at my workplace if they shave their balls now to try and get them to buy some stuff. Even the ladies, I ask them if they want one for their man.
Oh, for their man. I thought you were going to say, I hope to God you're not at your job walking around asking ladies if they shave their balls, because that would be highly inappropriate.
I asked if they shave their man's balls.
They have different HR rules over there. They can't say ninja, but they can ask a lady if she shaves the balls.
As the diversity and inclusion rep, I am actually obligated to ask them as well. To to make
I'll tell you
sure
what I
that
want to
there's
try.
no-
I haven't tried the Manscaped Refined Cologne yet. I want to see what that's all about. I need to get rid of this Drakkar supply that I've got.
You wear cologne?
Look at this guy. This guy
Where's
wishes
cologne?
he hasn't got
have you
balls,
not-
and he's furry, but you wish he could shave them.
I bet he does.
dude. You know, Byron's shocked that Justin wears cologne. I bet Justin smells like Razor Ramon looks, dog.
I smell like
Greasy?
Razor Ramon. Yeah.
Whoa, Byron.
Wow.
Whoa.
What?
Wow.
He's American.
Jesus.
Oh man.
He's
I'll tell you. Well,
He's Puerto
but here's
Rican.
I don't know
He was-
exactly
he was
what's in
Cuban, dude.
Cuban. Wow. I give up on you.
Samoan, isn't he?
The thing is, I don't know what's in the cologne that I'm using now, but I know that the Manscaped stuff is vegan, cruelty-free, dye-free, sulfate-free, paraben-free. That's the good stuff. I know that'll
I
be
don't
totally
even know
safe.
what a
on my skin,
paraffin
but-
is, but I know I just don't want it anywhere near my shit.
Correct.
My cat-
Absolutely.
My cat's dancing like
I think it's a
Stevie
kind
Wonder.
of penguin, actually. I think it's a kind of penguin, but I'm not.
So
Paul Queen.
look, to get 20% off, just go to manscaped.com, use our code MMM, make your balls a priority for Christmas this year. You know, Christmas balls. Gotta have them in good shape.
Snowballs.
All right. So I want to talk about Triplemania.
Yeah, dude, let's talk about wrestling on the wrestling.
Let's talk about La Hydra.
once. God
No,
damn.
let's not just talk. Let's first talk about Mr. Iguana, who is clearly one of the best luchadors on the planet right now. Oh, you guys just hey, no one is excited about Mr. Iguana. The dude is
Is
dope.
he
You know
injured?
what? I
Oh.
love Mr. Iguana, but he's not Poder del Norte, one of the best teams in wrestling history. Because look, dude. Okay,
You
yeah,
mean the guys that borrowed the Shield's vest after they were surgically removed? Those guys?
First of all, they legitimately kill people, so they're okay to wear the vest because
They
that's
need
what
them.
they do on their day off. This is just their work clothes. You know, sometimes they're mercenaries.
Straight from the
They're
job.
more mercenaries than the mercenaries, which is a little weird. But because we got two groups
But
of
aren't they
mercenaries.
really mercenaries? Aren't they more like, you know, militia wrapped in cartel? Isn't this a bad thing to be representing to the youth of Mexico, Casey?
No, it's just reality because you know what? On this team, you've got Mocho Cota Jr., the son of the legendary Mocho Cota. So I will never not love this team, no matter how many fake Tito Santanas they throw at us.
Tito Santana Jr. the third, Hio.
Amigo del Hijo del Tito Santana.
You know, honestly, they never claim a relation. They just
Nope.
fucking call him Tito Santana.
We're just going to use the name. We're going to get that name out there somewheres. Okay, so I understand that that's your team. That those are your guys. But Dynastia? Come on. The guys
Wasn't
like
supposed to be in the match, dog.
I know. Who was supposed to be in? Who
Fucking Nino Hamburguesa. Dude,
Yeah.
how much better would that team have been? Like, come
Yeah.
on.
what was he hanging out with Bandito and Flamita or something? What was his reason for not being there? Do we know?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe.
No,
Maybe.
see, from the way I
was
understand-
up to my mind.
From the way I understand it, AAA was basically getting people to quarantine into bubbles and to just stay with the people they were working with on the show and to not have exposure outside of that for a few days before the show. So maybe
they
he
paid
just
him.
wasn't able to do that. So they had to pull him from the match. But they also had things like where they said, you know, we're not going to do some of our normal battle royal type stuff. And we're not going to try to just squish everybody into the card. And we're going to limit every match to 6 people and a ref at most.
No,
That went out the window pretty quickly.
it was 6 women. It was 6 women, 2 men.
Yeah.
Hey,
and the rest.
Exoticos. Thank you very much.
Exoticos have traditionally been allowed to compete for women's stuff in AAA, though.
We're just trying to find a way around it, basically.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it depends on how they're feeling that week. Which most rules in AAA depend on how they're feeling that week.
That day.
I didn't mind Pimpinella being in there, especially. I thought that was a great fit for Pimpy to be in
Yeah.
that match,
Yeah,
especially
because
with no battle royal.
Pimpy rules. Mamba just kind of sucks at wrestling.
Yeah, Mamba didn't do much, but Pimpy added a lot of
feel
excitement.
like
Had some good
my
spots with
theory-
everyone.
I told you guys the theory in the DM that
Yeah, you
both of
did.
the Exoticos were in there for heavy lifting because Mamba is the one that eliminated Big Mommy. So
Big Mommy eliminated herself. Big Mommy was climbing up the turnbuckle with help from 4 other people and then just kind of rolled over. It's like putting Big Mommy in an over-the-top rope scenario. Like, Big Mommy definitely has her place, and she is a great character and an awesome performer. You know, her wrestling is what her wrestling, you know, her body will allow her wrestling to be. Let's be honest. But at the same time, like, putting her in an over-the-top rope situation,
hey,
come on.
She got off lucky, bro. They put Super Porky in the fucking Dome of Death cage that you got to crawl out of the little hole.
Oh my god!
So, I think there was a Super Porky reference on, or I think AEW, some other wrestling show this past week or two, and I popped so hard.
Yeah,
Super Porky rules.
Well, look, we're talking about the women's match already. I don't care if we go out of order. Let's go ahead. We can talk about it. I thought at first that it was a great thing that it came down to Lady Shani and who was the other one, Maravilla.
Mm-hmm.
But Lady Maravilla sucked in that last sequence.
Yeah, and
I
you
was
know
not
what?
happy with that. Shani looked great, but
Shani
and
was an
Maravilla
amazing
got
wrestling hold.
fucking rewarded by getting another character later in the night. Good times.
I just like when early on, when after everyone else got eliminated and you see Lady Maravilla try to do that springboard off the bottom rope or what, I was just like, what in the sexy star is going on here? This is tragic.
Everyone was cheering for La Hydra, and
Yep.
when she was eliminated, everyone was just pissed off that that part of the match was over.
And then she came back, and I was happy again.
Big
She
surprise.
came back-
Meefloaf every minute of
And
what La Hydra did.
Just to put it back out again today, I will fight all of you for her honor.
Okay.
What?
We would have to dishonor her first, but I'll take it for what that is.
I will literally fight anybody for her.
I do want to point
She
out
sent me on a one-man mission
daughter of
into
the
like
legendary Sangre Chicana, so her dad could beat up anyone else in the match's dad. I'm just saying.
I'm going to do it for him, so he doesn't have to lift a finger.
What were you
And
going to say,
Arnold
Byron?
Schwarzenegger in Commando, when he goes to like Benti, that made-up country in South America. That's what I am willing to do for La Hydra.
Wow.
Yeah. There's
I'm
also
going to kill a fat man in a chainmail vest for her.
Yeah,
Yes,
Meef was on
69 years old. Nice.
Meef was on a tear last night on the Lucha Central broadcast. We did kind of a live thing there, mostly hosted by Brendan and Dusty over there from the Weekly. And Jerry Villagrana was there. Meefloaf and I were there. Byron popped in for a little bit. It was a good time. And quite a few viewers. And in lack of an English version, though I did like Hugo coming in and out of the English at exactly the right times. He was giving exactly the right amount of backstory. I thought it was really well done. If you weren't a Spanish speaker and you were watching the show, you could still pretty much follow what was going on.
Can I quickly talk about my love for Hugo Savinovich?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Hugo Mercado, as he's now known.
Dude, I've been watching so many old Puerto Rican TV episodes. There's been some recent uploads to YouTube, and he's like a one-man host. He's basically, sometimes he has another guy, but he's basically fucking Joey Styles on this, right? And he's like this tiny guy, kind of pudgy. He's got the sickest fucking mullet you will ever see. Like it's just beautiful and flowing, because this is like mid-'80s Hugo. And let me tell you, this man used to be married to Wendy Richter, the biggest name in ladies wrestling in the 80s, rock and wrestling boom. He used to be married to her. So even though he looked like Percy Pringle on this show, for some reason, I don't know why, he used to dress normal. I don't know what the deal was. The dude bladed himself like 5 times for a guitar shot. It was amazing.
Where did that? Okay, we're not there in the show yet.
Yeah.
What? Okay. So anyway, the ladies match. Who was Hades, right? Hades, or however you say it. And
with the cat mask.
Yeah, that mask was dope.
That was amazing.
It was Kunimitsu from Tekken is who she was supposed to be.
Oh, okay. I thought it was maybe Carla from Fairy Tale, but yeah, that makes more sense.
No, she was supposed to be a fox.
What they're called now out in Japan?
Kitsune.
Yeah.
I found it interesting too that Fabi Apache didn't get a lot of time in this match. She seemed a little lost out there. She's not used to standing around and hiding in a corner and doing rest spots or whatever. Fabi normally goes out and works, you know. So I think this was a weird scenario for her. But look, she got her Triplemania paycheck. She showed up. You know, she didn't have to do.
A little sad that her sister wasn't in there beating the shit out of people too. So Mari was missed.
No potatoes were thrown during this event.
Surprisingly, well, maybe that's a good thing.
I don't know. Mocho Koda got Iguana with a drop kick that may have beheaded him in the corner in the first match. But this was overall, like, I thought this was a good show. Like, this women's match, human centipede submission attempts aside, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But when Shani started putting those holds on, I was just transfixed. I was just like, oh my god,
they were good holds.
Like, yeah,
you know, and that made that closing sequence better because Lady Maria.
Why don't they bring in Lou Dark? It's Shawnee's cousin. Like, they're cool with each other. Like, why not bring Lou Dark Shaitan in and get some people busting light tubes over people's heads in matches like this? Come on.
Maybe. Interesting. There was plenty of carnage.
Did I not say last night when we were watching the death match, and you were like saying something about Casey's? This is Casey's kind of stuff. And I'm like, nah, there's not been a light tube.
True. You did say that.
I'm cool without light tubes, but if you have a barbed wire bat at ringside and you start hitting each other with a cookie sheet almost exclusively, your fucking deathmatch sucks. Yeah.
Hey, let me go back to the second match, which was the Mercenarios versus Lucha Bros versus Octagon and Mystices, right?
Yeah, Octagon Jr. and Mystices Jr. First of all, big props to Octagon Jr. keeping up the family tradition of getting his mask tied to the ropes like a dipshit. I loved it, and keep it up, big guy.
What's up with
Pentagon's knee? Oof.
What's up with Mystices Jr. only painting the front? Like, we're not going to see him when he turns around?
Well, you see, Byron, have you ever bought a bootleg action figure from Mexico? That's what they do for all of them.
It's just getting the merchandising correct.
Package.
I thought Mystices was great in this match, by the way. I feel like the pace of the match was really dictated more by him. And Fenix wasn't playing that role as much as I kind of had expected him to.
Fenix, I thought the Lucha Bros were losing because Fenix was starting to do like Shawn Michaels versus Hulk Hogan selling when he was like in the beginning of the match. And I thought he was just pissed he was jobbing. So that misdirect worked well, as did the Pentagon getting carried off, because I wasn't expecting him to come back. I thought it was going to be an excuse for them to lose the title. Yeah. Instead, it just made everyone else in the match look fucking terrible for not beating one man and his one-legged brother.
Well, but I think that this was also kind of an old school standard protection that you know, when guys would be, you know, working the country and going around and doing house show and working with different people all the time. The simple fact of the matter is Pentagon and Fenix have not worked these guys a lot recently. And the guys were probably more familiar with each other. So I think they left most of the spots to them and, you know, for Fenix and Pentagon to kind of work themselves in and out of the match and not really dominate the match. Like, look, honestly, at this point, Pentagon and Fenix are kind of American performers showing up to do a match with these guys and not the other way around, you know?
Well, Justin, there were two things in this match. I loved the match, but there are two things that came off as fucking bullshit to me. One, Hugo Savinovich, Puerto Rican announcer, can't identify barbed wire on a bat. Instead, it was wrapped in chains. I mean, come on. He corrected himself, but come on. And second,
all of Casey's issues with Triplemania involve ball bats and barbed wire.
Dude, I was just watching him commentate the Bushwhackers fucking people up in a barbed wire match. It was amazing. And okay, the other thing is the end of the match. Fenix and Pentagon celebrating with Laredo Kid and Octagon Jr. No, Pentagon would have kicked him in the dick and broken both of their fucking arms.
The real Pentagon.
Yeah, the real Pentagon. I don't know what kind of Saturday morning cereal box Pentagon this fucking
the AEW one.
Yeah, no, dude.
This is Penta El Cero Miedo as Hugo. Oh God, it hurt my parts to even hear Hugo say that. He called him Penta El Cero Miedo, especially when he was doing English. When he said English, it was like, oh, you Americans know him as this now. And it just hurt my parts. It's like, no, this is a AAA event. He's Pentagon Jr., but he wasn't. He really was Penta El Cero Miedo.
Yeah, they announced him as Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix. So
but then on the commentary, like Hugo said that, and I was just like, oh, that's depressing. I hate that. I hate everything about that.
I also don't understand how Octagon Jr. and Pentagon Jr. are not still sworn enemies. Like
they are.
Right. And I also don't understand how Rey Scorpion doesn't have to sell like everyone else.
Because he's Rey Scorpion.
Exactly.
He's too hard. We've got this long without talking about Tejana's hair and bandana.
I'm scared to. I'm afraid to. I don't know what to say about it.
Quality look. I was getting
look
some
like Tejano anymore. It's like
some like Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat. He had the headband. Yeah. I was into that, and the pudding bowl haircut.
It looked like an extra from Cobra Kai. It was maybe like Mo Howard if he decided to take up kung fu.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. I thought
it's looking in really good shape.
Yeah, dude. Tejano looked fucking ripped in this match, dude.
And I'm never mad at Penta Tejano Slap Fest. You know, they did one at Autos Luchas not too long ago, and this, clearly paid it off because those guys start to slapping each other and there's no pulling any punches and there's no potatoes, but it was fun. I was a little disappointed that Penta wasn't playing as much to the non-existent crowd as some of the Rudos were throughout the night because it was one of the most entertaining parts about the show. Yeah. So Penta did bump out early. For those who don't know, Penta has long been nursing a few things, and currently I guess he's got some legit stuff going on, either hamstring or knee. It's why they protected him on AEW last week so he could even get to this match. It's why they protected him a little bit in this match. But I like them, bumping him out early with the table spot, which is a weird way to bump out on a knee injury.
No,
but that would almost feel more legit.
Barbed wire bat.
They hit him with a barbed wire bat, but the camera didn't pan down to it, so you didn't see the hit.
Yeah.
They hit him with a cookie sheet into the knee as well.
Yeah, cookie sheets are just tremendous. And they're dollar store cookie sheets that are really like the tops to a tray of food.
Right.
I really hate the cookie sheet thing. Thanks, WWE, you fucking assholes. And I remember the ECW days when it was an actual baking sheet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's because there was that dollar store right next to the
right. Balls Mahoney would go over there. He would just buy like 4 or 5 bags of stuff, give 1 bag to Sandman. New Jack would show up with stuff in his actual duffel bag, so he wouldn't take any of the stuff from Balls. So then Balls would go out in the opening match, make everyone bleed with real cookie sheets and, plastic blender cups and weird stuff from the dollar store, beat people up with wooden spoons. And then New Jack would come out with his own real cheese grater and grate somebody's head. And then by the time Sandman got to a match, the whole ring mat was already red and he would just be happy. So he wouldn't even bother using any plunder and he'd just kendo stick somebody to death.
Hey, I don't need to use any of that shit. Okay.
I did go to a terrible event in the UK and they actually had
the bill, Tommy.
Gimmicked baking trays. So like they were real metal and they felt like you could actually use them, but like when you hit each other with them, because we did it full pelt, there was no pain involved because we stood next to the ring and they were just laying there, so we're like, right, we're gonna use that.
What they do is they got to get these baking trays straight out of the oven so they're still hot. Because I don't know about you, some cookies and accidentally touched your arm or some shit. Fuck.
Paula,
you need to do something face.
Got scars here and here because she used to work in a pasty shop, which is basically like an empanada but like baked. And like she'd pull the trays out from 500-degree ovens, and sometimes they'd slip.
Oh hell no!
And man, some of the she got like little triangle burns because of like the corners of the trays.
They were insane
at all. No. Dudes dig scars too. Come on.
A little teaser. I think this was a little foreshadowing for us for later, but we get the Taurus run in followed by the Vikingo run in, and it's like, wait, these are 2 of the biggest stars. How come they're not in a match and they're actually here? So,
well, one was. I would have had Vikingo play Spider-Man instead, but what do I know?
We did talk about the Vikingo thing because he'd been off for a long time for a baby/contract dispute.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, here's the thing: Vikingo. I wouldn't say that anyone's mad at him necessarily, but he's got some heat in the back. He's being put in check a little bit right now. He took a paternity leave, not something that a lot of wrestlers do. And let's be honest, a lot of wrestlers have a lot of kids. So taking time off of them is, I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Like, look, these dudes should take paternity leaves. Like, you're on the road all the damn time. Stay home with your old lady and watch your kid be born and hang out at the house for a minute, help take care of the kids or something. But anyway, he took a paternity leave, and let's be honest, realistically, he was doing that because he was testing the waters to see if he could get let go. He wanted to go to America. He wanted to do some stuff, I think MLW, and maybe try to get into AEW. Like, he's a name. He's a known quantity now. He's, been exposed to Conan, and you know what happens when people are around Conan for a little while. They start getting ideas of how much bigger and better they could be. But he is very firmly under contract to AAA right now. Mm-hmm. He would have to really break a contract, not slide out of it. There's not really
funny.
And he's making decent money too.
He took paternity leave when his dad's a wrestler, and you know what I mean, and probably wasn't doing the same thing. But you know what? It was paternity leave. But
look, even when Phoenix
it was during COVID as well, so it was like kind
Phoenix dipped out on AAA, Penta didn't go with him initially either. Sometimes you leave the family behind. Wrestling is an individual sport. Sometimes you got to go into business for yourself.
Dude, he's got to be on everyone's radar as someone they would hire if they were starting a promotion or if they could get him. So I think he's all right. He's also got to be greedy and look out for himself in wrestling because his style doesn't lend itself to longevity unless you're a freak like Aerostar, but he's all fucked up now too.
I agree. Yeah. He's got to make a move. He's got to do it soon. But, unfortunately for him, I think he thought during COVID too that, maybe they wouldn't make enough money. Maybe they would be looking to let some people go or to scale back. Honestly, he shot his shot at the right time. It didn't pan out. He's back with AAA. I don't imagine that there's going to be any long-lasting heat there. I think he's going to keep, I think they're going to keep pushing him. I think he'll be back in the fold just fine. But
it's so normal in Lucha that it's water under the bridge at this point, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think everyone's already over it, which is part of why you did see him get slotted in there at the last minute. And I think you'll see as they go forward plenty of him, which I hope because somebody's got to use him. If he sits on the shelf, then I'll be pissed. Mm-hmm. But,
yeah, because he's like one of my favorite guys to watch for sure. Like,
how long?
Famous luchador, but he's fucking great.
How long did you say, or do you think he has left on his deal? You were saying like 4 years or something?
Years. Yeah, he's got years left on his deal with AAA. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like it's probably 3 or 4 years, I think. I don't know. Lucha Blog would probably know that.
If it's 3 or 4, then where is he going to be in his career and his physical ability for his style?
He could show up at AEW or someplace. He'll never make WWE if he doesn't get out of AAA now, but I don't know that that's a good place for him anyway. But he could still do a run as a more middling guy in AEW or Ring of Honor or even New Japan after AAA in 3 or 4 years. But by then, if they have their druthers, he's going to be a top name guy, and he probably will be getting a whole lot more of what he wants to stay put by then.
I'm telling you, where you send him, where you take him is fucking Dragon Gate, and he would be perfect in that promotion, and he would be over like fucking gangbusters there. And
they would probably pay him plenty of money to do it too. I mean, I don't know that you get the worldwide exposure. You're not going to get your name in the Dave Meltzer record books by doing that, but I think you would definitely.
A lot of guys, dude, came from Dragon Gate.
Yeah, but
a lot of WWE guys too.
I think it builds you the credibility to get indie cred, but I don't think it gives you initially the cred just by Dragon Gate alone. You have to go there and then graduate to somewhere else. But who knows? That could be a great fit.
I mean,
you do have to add
that probably don't listen to our show. Real G's that probably don't listen to our show already know that Vikingo is awesome. I'm saying they probably don't listen to this show because they like Sting and they're angry about your opinions on Sting.
Yeah.
They also like cheese toast sandwiches. And
When they heard what you said weeks ago, they threw their phone on the ground and lit it on fire.
First of all, that was last week. Second of all, Sting still sucks. It's only been a week. He still sucks.
He's been on twice.
And third of all, they just had galaxies and they set on fire by themselves.
Speaking of,
don't say that because Paula's did.
Oh shit!
It exploded in her hand.
Is she okay? Which hand?
Yeah. Well, luckily, it only did like a pop, but the lithium battery actually expanded.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And like blew the back off.
Was she using the GPS?
No.
I heard that cycles the battery harder and makes them pop more.
Would you still love her if she had 7 fingers?
It
On one
make it look bigger.
Look, I want to talk Psycho Circus versus Blue Demon.
Oh God!
You know
how we said the show was good?
LA Park. I want to talk about Meef's favorite match. Anything with Blue Demon and Psycho Clown.
Oh God. Yeah, 2 of my least favorites as well. I gotta say, Hijo del Park. Congratulations on getting that Chinga tu Madre. In there.
You know, Tejano was in the back pissed, like, dude, I wanted to do that.
That was my spot.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know that I have anything to say about this match.
I have one thing to say.
I forgot
about
this match existed, to be honest with you, and that's why I've been going about how great it was, and it wasn't a bad match.
Dude, this is why I didn't jump in on the broadcast. I had to wait until that match was over before I could jump in on the broadcast because I didn't want to be like the Debbie Downer and just shit on everything.
Oh, don't worry, I did it for you.
2 things stand out, and I'm gonna steal Casey's line for it because he outdid me on it. One, Murder Clown almost became Suicide Clown when he did a tope that turned into a self pile driver.
Yeah, that was my line. Thank you.
And also, I just cracked up when I saw the 3 clowns stack on each other and try to do a splash.
It's one of my favorite spots because it never looks good, and they do it every match that they team together, and it's fun. Look,
and they're the baby faces. They're the technicos.
They were going for a pin, I think, but then like when they do the splash, the guy on top falls off.
He always does.
I can't even call them technicos. They're baby faces. They're not technicos.
I hate that this clown gimmick took off because fucking Monster Clown was Aliens, ripoff of Aliens, the movie. Now you got this fucking Marvel deal, which means Disney's involved. Disney owns Aliens. He could officially be the xenomorph wrestler Aliens now. He could officially be that. And first of all, this Marvel thing, I think they need to look at fucking Psycho Clown's pants because he was not authorized to wear those Hulk pants. Get him the fuck out of here.
Ooh. All right. Yeah.
But also Psycho Clown just sucks.
So
massive turds.
Maybe one of you guys explain this to me too, though. What's the deal with the missing ear hole and the rings thing? I've seen it before, but why would you do that? I don't understand.
Because he's a pirate, dog.
Well, see, I'm not sure either on it. And because
cool.
Phantasma wore one after he lost the mask, and he would come out to the ring with the mask on. He would have the ear missing with those, and I thought that was what it was.
It symbolized something because I've seen it before.
Well, La Sombra used to do it.
Yes,
a lot of the La Sombra masks. Yeah,
and Bushi does it. Yeah. A lot of people.
I don't know if it's just a style thing or if it's some kind of traditional shout out that I just don't know the custom.
It just looks cool. It's kind of, I mean, Rey Bucanero was the first one I saw with it on their mask, I think. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
We need a Rob Viper.
We do. We need a Rob Viper every week, but we don't get him. Sadly,
we can't afford him.
True, we can't afford him. They make bank off of their thing.
He seemed to really love the Psycho Circus's new theme song.
Oh, dear Lord, no! Please tell me
that's I didn't have the sound on, so I didn't hear it.
It was dreadful.
It's pretty bad. It just basically says, "Psycho Clowns." Oh God, Psycho Loco, Psycho Clown, Psycho Lucha, Psycho Clown, Psycho Loco, something like that. It was terrible. It was terrible.
Really, really bad.
Because they're really, really working as hard as they can to never use licensed music again in AAA, unfortunately.
Well, and if they want to cut deals with American companies, that's probably a smart idea.
Yeah, and also
have to re-edit your great footage. The whole thing, reason they're there.
The bootleg Thriller and the La Parka fucking sucked.
We didn't really talk about that.
They do have the opportunity to buy a lot of music rights up now because all musicians are realizing due to streaming they can't make a single fucking penny anymore.
Correct.
Yeah, get Rammstein back for fucking Chessman, please.
But they use like the top songs of all time. Like, still, how if you take Thriller at half price, it's still probably worth more than the whole company.
I mean, but look at the Psycho Circus. It's some random song from Three Dog Night, and I think they can afford that.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Marvel. Let's talk Marvel Luchadores.
Jim's not here, so we can have an official Marvel representative.
Why?
Yeah, that might be a good thing. I don't know.
Why was it so hard for so many people, especially on the Lucha Podcast Network watch along, to come to grips with the fact that it was Cage doing the muscle bound spots?
Looked tall.
That's more tanned. I know the moveset looked that way, and he looked a little darker skinned, to be honest. I was like, is that really Cage?
And I think he looked broader.
I mean, I said it for 10 seconds in our DM, and then I said, no, that's fucking Cage. And then Byron's like, yeah, the moose knuckle checks out, which is how we really tell.
But he also
that's what I said on the podcast last night as well.
Yeah.
Well, Byron would definitely know.
He did all of his spots. He did like that. His sort of
drill claw. Jesus Christ.
He did the 2-1 with the drill claw. He did the jump into a suplex spot. When the way he stands on the ring, where he looks like he's in like a fashion catalog, whatever. It's just he doesn't have that big muscle bound presence, and it's weird to see that on a muscle bound guy.
I feel like we got fucked because I thought that the whole thing for this, because they tried to misdirect and say they weren't going to be working with foreigners as much anymore. I was hoping this would all be people under the AAA roster, but I have a few questions, you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
really
I
important.
have several myself, but
if you're gonna have two Americans playing these characters, why do you have a Mexican guy playing Captain America?
That's the best. Because he wants to be heel deep in his heart. Like, why is Captain America not a heel?
Yeah. Daga was Captain America, if you couldn't tell by the giant ear lumps under the mask.
Yes. And what was the actual name of the character?
He was like
Leyenda Americana.
Yeah, Leyenda Americana. There was we had Taurus as Venom, and that I was hoping it would all be guys like Taurus as Venom. I was hoping it would be Vikingo as Spider-Man. We got Leo Rush instead.
I think that Daga being one of these characters is awesome. I think that Taurus being one of these characters is awesome. I'm fine with Cage being Thanos or Purple Terror or whatever the hell he is.
Wait, no, it'd been better if they got
Terra Purpura, but isn't Purpura like that's like a vein disease where your veins pop out of your face, right?
Yeah, but it just means purple. It just
okay.
And they were actually talking about Cage's dick.
That's another question I have. We're clearly basing these characters on very obvious Marvel characters. Why aren't they using Marvel names for them? I'm really
want to make a Mexican.
I feel like my actual theory is because you can have Aranya lose, but you're not going to have Spider-Man lose.
Yeah,
maybe. Okay, interesting. Like they don't want to lessen what it's just a weird thing to me. I'm still trying to figure out what Marvel gets out of this. Like, I understand that the Mexican market is huge and I guess it's some kind of advertising, but I'm just trying to figure out the direct correlation to money that Marvel can make from this. Like, what is
as Jerry was saying though, it's really weird because like he said, everywhere you go in Mexico, you can get Marvel stuff. It's literally everywhere.
Yeah, but
so
it's like Marvel stuff.
No. Some of it's legit, like in actual, proper stores.
Right.
It's the actual Marvel stuff. but it's like almost like Marvel don't realize how popular or how much money they make out of Mexico.
I feel like it. My theory was the opposite, Meef. I thought it was to shut down illegal Marvel.
Maybe, yeah.
To get a foothold there, but the foothold's already there. Then it's even weirder.
Yeah. Jerry was literally just saying you can't avoid Marvel, and we're not talking bootleg stuff. We're talking like actual.
But then I guess that's good. I mean, like, look, a lot of advertising for big companies. It's like, Budweiser doesn't have any problem with saturation, but yet they're still going to run a ton of ads because they want to remind you to go out and get another one. So maybe it's the same thing with Marvel. Like, hey, while you're sitting there in the wrestling arena, when you leave the wrestling arena, instead of buying a bootleg mask, head on over to the store and get, a Spider-Man doll or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just market saturation and placement.
I have to chip in here because we mentioned bootlegs and then you automatically mentioned Budweiser, which is completely correct because Budweiser is a rip-off of a Czech beer called Budvar. And they ripped off the logo, ripped off everything, and then somehow still managed to win a court case because it was in America. And
USA.
Us Americans and our fake German beer.
Man, I gotta say though, Taurus was the perfect person for his role.
He really was.
Give huge props to Penta for wearing a Venom-based mask on the show that has the Venom character debuting and having a cooler mask than the actual Venom character.
So this is the one point that I made as well last night on the live feed was that maybe what's really kind of happened is Marvel have seen the use by Pentagon and Fenix of like the Venom stuff, as well as like, obviously storied over the years has been like Rey Mysterio. But I think this is like kind of a weird moment where they've decided to kind of cash in on it.
But this deal has been in the works for a long, long time. I mean, they've been working on this deal for over a year already. So.
Oh yeah, but my Venom mask is like 3 years old now.
3 years old, yeah. So maybe they just saw the popularity and the crossover there, and
and like loads of people have been doing it more in Lucha now, if you know what I mean. Because I mean, Ray was like the only guy really doing it at one point, and now. I've got a few phantasmas.
I do. I find Lio Rush to be an interesting thing here, but maybe he gains something in the translation and the fact that people can't hear his mouth backstage, so they don't as much.
Well, it was interesting. There were quite a few wrestlers yesterday on multiple broadcasts. Like the most notable one was Kenny with this match, and then doing an Impact vignette with Machine Gun. But Lio Rush was also. At the New Japan Strong, the American version.
he Rick rooted. He Rick rooted it.
That's Chris Bay.
And then
I was going to say the most important person on multiple shows yesterday was Chris Bay.
Yeah, Chris Bay doing, but yeah, so he probably had actually the most important one because he had two matches where he had the tournament, the New Japan Cup, which he won a match, but then he also had a world title match on Impact. Their first
Saturday was Bay Day.
What was the name of the Impact show? Was it Final Resolution?
It was called Diarrhea Milkshake.
First
no, resolution. It wasn't Final Solution. I think you're thinking of World War II. That was not what it was called.
I think that was the TV pay-per-view.
That would have been not a good name for a wrestling pay-per-view to start naming it after genocidal things.
I swear there's something out there.
What was Pol Pot's like thingy called? Regiment? The thingy party. Oh god.
So Triplemania, I want to talk about the headliner first. I don't want to talk about Omega Man yet. I want to talk about the headliner. This was a hardcore match. And I say hardcore. It wasn't a death match. This was more like a standard ECW hardcore match.
Let's call it a WWE hardcore match.
You think so?
They did end in a gimmicked spot in the back of a pickup truck on top of a mattress.
Everyone has seen the fucking Zandig clip, and that's how they decided to end this fucking piece of shit match.
The best bit was the fact that they decided to do that table spot, and like obviously tables do this,
right?
And then when we need to get that motherfucker off on a stretcher, so literally like it was brutal. I'm really glad he wasn't hurt, because he probably would be dead from them trying to get him on that stretcher.
The last table spot into the truck was the safest one.
Yeah.
That was, and probably the only one that went off the way it was supposed to.
I don't watch Pagano matches for shit to go off the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah. My God, look, can we get more? I would like to officially contribute. Please, AAA, start a GoFundMe for ladders. I would like to donate ladders
that ladder was amazing.
so that we do not use the same ladder 17 times once it is turned into a jagged instrument of death. Like, I like bloody, violent matches, but that ladder had no business being used after that.
It was
when he hit him and one of the feet fell off.
Yeah.
And it hit him in the head.
In this match that was interesting to me because they left the barbed wire bat at ringside the whole match.
You weren't stoked about the cookie sheet coming into play?
No, wasn't stoked about the shitty ladders, the cookie sheet, or the truck spot. Look, I was expecting at the very least thumbtacks. I was craving some fire. They had all of this fire shooting up. They even had some of the like hobo fires in the big toxic waste barrels. But no, we couldn't have had anyone get slammed on any of that.
I do.
No, they should have
mentioned and it sounds bad to mention it, and it's in no way making light of obviously what happened, but on a show that was kind of dedicated to La Parka, there was a lot of really bad Tope Suicidas.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, come on. I know they didn't, kind of mean it, but I was like, please just avoid that spot,
They did a work stretcher spot right before the tribute too.
Yeah.
That kind of wasn't cool.
Yeah.
But like when Chessman did the really bad one and then hit the chairs head first.
And
I thought it was bad. I thought it was really bad when he, because he was covering him up a bit. But actually, they were covering him up as he was blading.
Yeah, right. I thought he busted his teeth out, but it didn't.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that literally Chessman's face by the end was not that red face paint, and yet his face was still red.
Well, he wears really shitty paint, so his face is kind of that color all the time. Yeah.
I appreciated that he came down as Lucha Kane with a Lucha Kane mask, and they had the
it was a gladiator mask, Byron. It was a gladiator mask.
Well,
no, that's 1,000% a gladiator mask.
But in all reality, they're doing a hardcore match. Pagano is the only one who dressed for it with his white shirt.
Yeah, I know. But that was an MF Doom helmet. Let's be real.
If you're doing a hardcore match, you have to bleach your hair, put on a white t-shirt, and have like your mom ringside.
But Chessman's gear was red and black dragon scale.
Bleached his hair just so he could do a shitty blade job from the commentary table.
I saw that. That was amazing. He totally Ric Flaired his hair just so he could get into it.
Where did that guitar shot come from?
No, but look, back to what you were saying though, Byron. I will give Chessman credit because the whole middle part of the ring was yellow with the big ad on it. But between there and the apron, there was this one strip of white. And Chessman was like, God damn it, I'm going to bleed on something white. And he found that one spot and he bled all over it. I was like,
when he got dragged back into the ring and his hair mopped the blood. That's fantastic.
I also got to give props to Chessman for the post match where he threw his hair at Pagano.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the shit.
It was on the tope into the chairs where we all thought he was dead. I was like, we're all so concerned. And then Pagano picks up a cookie sheet and just blames him 5 times while he's still like prone on the apron.
Dude, bleeding out. Listen, go back to the live feed from yesterday on Lucha Central Network and just listen to us commentate the final part of the Apuestas match where Chessman loses his hair, because that is the funniest shit that happened all day yesterday.
I wonder if it's still going.
Look,
the feet never stop.
Chessman polished a turd in this because Pagano loses his hair maybe like once a year.
Right.
Chessman hasn't lost his hair for like almost 15 years, I think. Or maybe, no, you know what? He lost it a couple times. So he lost it in like 2005 and 2007, I think. So he's lost his hair twice, and it's been this thing this whole time. He's won a bunch of hair matches since then. So he had a build behind his hair to give it up. Pagano always loses his hair, and he doesn't have that much anyway. He's got a mohawk.
Well, and it's a bad mohawk. He could have stood to lose it again, but whatever. I'm fine with the.
Although you did remind me of something from earlier, Casey, when you said about his face being exposed, was Fenix's mask.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
which was like off his head completely.
Does anybody
like,
not know what Phoenix looks like
that
at this point? I mean, he's hard to spot in a crowd because he's kind of plain looking. He's very normal-ish looking.
Yeah.
You know, he's a little harder to spot than his brother, but
if you spot him, he gets mad.
He gets really mad. It's
like, dude, of course we knew it's you. You're wearing a shirt that says Phoenix in giant letters on the back as you're walking on the top rope without your fucking mask on, and you have a broken nose that we just saw you break 2 nights ago.
And 2 black eyes.
Look, I met him when I was with several wrestlers. I think I was the only non-wrestler there, but he was almost mad at the other wrestlers. And it's like, bro, I'm not going to out you. I don't like, he was looking at them all mad and trying not to look at me. Cause it's like, yeah, bro, I know exactly who you are, but like, who cares? Like, I'm not going to, do you see my camera phone out? Am I trying to take pictures? Am I trying to tell anybody? Well, I mean, God bless him though, for living the old thing. But at the same time, like, we're in a hotel lobby. I'm standing with a bunch of wrestlers. Yeah. Like, just live your life and enjoy your thing, man. Don't worry about the fact that I've seen your face. I know who you are.
Also point something out. If you wrestle in England, which is predominantly full of like, you know, really pale people, turning up to a wrestling event via the front entrance whilst the queue is there because you arrived only 15 minutes before the event's opening, and you and your brother both decide to walk in through the front entrance and then go, oh, I turned my head as they reached the front door because obviously they recognized me, and they were just like, shit. I turned
like, oh yeah, wait.
Yeah, I was in fucking pieces. I was like,
yeah.
and they were with their friend who is like really like he was like I think he did marathons, but he was in the UK I think on university or something, and like he's got really dark skin, you know, and I was like, if no one's gonna guess that's the 3 Mexican guys turning up, like.
Right, I remember
but at least PWG has a Mexican audience sometimes.
Yeah. Correct.
I remember
California at least.
I had ridden in an elevator. I took an elevator once at the same time as Phoenix, and he had the hoodie.
He did the hoodie thing,
and like he wasn't obvious, but you know he had respect for the privacy, and I respect that, especially compared to like when we were at Bola. In line for Bola 2015, and the Lucha car pulls up. You know, it's like Phoenix and Aerostar, Drago, all in sort, you know, half gimmick, you know, because they're walking. They're
wearing masks, though.
And then Pentagon just has a towel over his head and walks.
Dude, it wasn't even
it was Taz.
It was a t-shirt. And he was like this walking into the building.
He was Tazing it, dude.
It's like, come on, man.
Oh my God.
Santa Claus.
Look, on. you said that the PWG audience had some Mexicans in it. Of course it did. Jim Velasco was there.
Exactly.
All right. Look, I do want to talk about Kenny's match at Triplemania, but I want to do that when we talk about the rest of AEW. We're going to take a quick break, and I really do want to get to this Lucha Underground because it's the first one I ever went to. So we'll be back right after this. We're going to do a little Lucha rewind, and we're going to talk some AEW.
Lucha-masks.com, in partnership with Mask Republic, give you personal protective masks to keep you Lucha strong in the fight versus COVID-19. With world-class luchadores Blue Demon Jr., the Lucha Brothers, LA Park, Ultimo Dragon, Cain Velasquez, Conan, and so much more. Head to lucha-masks.com and you too can become a masked warrior. Lucha-masks.com, powered by Pro Wrestling Revolution.
So, Meef, I guess it's just me and you. We're going to talk about the Lucha. Is Lucha Underground so dismal for these guys now that when we get to the Lucha Underground segment, they just leave?
I mean, I'm surprised Casey's even turned up. So.
I heard you bitching about it on the live broadcast yesterday. You're like, hey, Meef, what show are you from? Meef's like, yeah, I'm from the show where we talk about this thing that we don't even really like anymore. Hey, speak for yourself, buddy. I still love Lucha Underground. I'm still a fan. As much as when you do go back, you do spot things that you're kind of like, oh. There's things that you wish they had done better from the very start, but I still don't think it was bad.
It's like the Goonies. I can't watch the Goonies anymore. I loved it as a kid, and like my childhood was very much a Goonies Stand By Me experience of mayhem, of getting into shit.
It's our time down here. Down here, it's our time.
But like, I hate it now. I can't watch it whatsoever. I'm just like, oh, this is so shit. Fuck off, Samwise.
Hey, Byron,
we thought you quit the show because we were talking about Lucha Underground again.
Oh, wait,
he's got his Darby Allin shirt on.
Mine? Did I get mine?
Oh, look at that! It's beautiful.
Oh my god!
Is that a Mandalorian?
No.
I don't know what it looks like. So
Apparently, they need better eye protection or eyewear in England as well.
Look at this. There's a lot of cellophane. It's kind of hard to tell. Look at that. Oh, continue, gentlemen. Continue. I'll unbox this as we talk.
Awesome. Anyway, we were just talking about Lucha Underground and how all three of you guys hate the show now, and I don't. But that's
I love the show.
Okay.
No, I don't hate Lucha Underground. I hate this show.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
sense then. This all makes sense now. Okay, that's totally fine. I'm fine with
Byron's fault.
So anyway, I have to say that if you watch this show, this episode, the crowd is super duper hot. This was my first experience in the temple. I'm sitting up top. We're right next to the stairs. It's Casey first, then Byron, then me. This is my first appearance on an episode of Lucha Underground, and I was blown away by most of what I saw. There was also a Chavo Blue Demon thing, so I can't say I was blown away by everything.
Yeah, you got to have a caveat there for sure.
But also, just in backstory for me, I could not have possibly picked a better week to come. The week before this, Pero had, or 2 weeks before this, when there was a taping, Pero had just passed. I wasn't in a good headspace. I think I could have gone with you guys that weekend, and I chose not to. It was just kind of a jacked up week. And and in the long run, I don't think the matches were very good that week either. I'm glad it wasn't my first experience at the temple. This, however, was, and setting the backstory, one of the characters that I had always been super looking forward to was Drago. And the Drago leaving Lucha Underground episode had just aired that same week, I believe. So I was bummed and pissed that I was going to be going to Lucha Underground taping finally, and there was no Drago. However, because of the gap in time, and the gap in time was a little bit different the first season because they were doing 2 weeks between tapings, and they had built up quite a bit, but then started airing them out already while they were still taping. So the show was actually airing and taping at the same time the first season. And they had a little bit of production break at some point in time. But anyway, this week happened to be the return of Drago. It also happened to be more into the summer, so it was hot as balls. And disgusting. But
if only we had a manscaping sponsorship then.
I popped so hard for that. I was so fortunate and lucky that I got to see that match. I was very lucky that I got to see a few of these things. So I was happy. And there was 2 episodes filmed this day, and this was most of the stuff that was in the first part of that day. So kicking it right off with just kind of the rewind on this episode, you get the reintroduction of Drago. He's up there by the sign, which I always thought was badass. And in reality, by the way, that billboard is not very big. And you can kind of tell that here once Drago gets his wings out. You know, the wingspan on that whole thing is maybe 10, 12 feet, and it really stretched almost the entire billboard. It seems big the way they shot a lot of it in that Burnett helicopter style, but the billboard itself was not very big. That was the very intro. Then you get Vampiro apologizing for jumping into the ring the week before, which is at the time I thought was a strange angle because I honestly did not believe at this time that Vampiro was going to come back because he was nursing some real injuries at the time, as was Conan. Yeah. I did not expect to see either of them in the ring. So I didn't get this tease of him apologizing about it. I was like, but go ahead, Byron.
You'd also see Vampiro limping every week too.
He looked like, cameras off, in the hallway, Vampiro did not look like he was very happy. He looked like if he wasn't on pills, he needed to be on some pills.
Right.
Like that pills would not be a bad thing in his life. So, and then we get the big announcement, and this was one of the very first things. I think I saw a dark match before this, and then right into one of the very first things I saw taped was Dario coming out and making this announcement that there was going to be this thing called Ultima Lucha.
Yeah.
Which everyone was kind of like, what is this? There's going to be some type of Wrestlemania type thing for Lucha Underground. This is so dope. And everybody right there from that moment on was super hot. And They had razzed Dario a bit in the filming of this. He screwed up a few times.
Oh,
The audience was giving him shit.
he lost his voice during it.
But you can't tell on the show. They probably just ADR'd it.
No, this is highly edited for the show. There was a bunch of botches before he could even get to the part of there being an Ultima Lucha, which did pop the crowd and got everyone back on Dario's side. And in fact, this announcement may be the point in time when the audience stopped treating Dario like crap and actually started liking him. I don't know.
Because he shut down the what chants and he said, that's for bullshit American promotions. Get that shit out of my temple.
Yeah, he was getting whatted to death. He was getting heckled by the crowd. And then he finally got through this bit and the whole crowd popped and the energy was in this crowd and the crowd was alive until Chavo.
That was the only spoiler alert match we sat down for at Ultima Lucha.
Anyway, so
No
we get the Blue Demon Jr. versus Chavo thing. I like that they had Blue Demon wrestle in the suit. That was the highlight of the whole thing to me, and he actually moved pretty good in it. I thought he almost moved better than when he was in his ring gear.
Well,
Jr.
I don't know.
I like his velvet ring gear though, to be honest with you.
I saw a little differently because Dario gives him crap about ring rust, and then it just seemed like he immediately was a little rusty. Although, once they got out of the ring, he had a cool slide out, cool baseball
slide out was dope. I mean, you want to talk about the correct spot to do it in a 3-piece suit? It's a slide under the ropes out of the ring because that was like the fastest I think I've ever seen Blue Demon Jr. move, and I was like, oh, he came to life.
Yeah.
Hey, so update. Inside Collectibles fucking sucks and sent me a Liger with a broken horn that I'm gonna have to glue.
No.
Well, can you bring it up to them?
No, they won't do shit. They'll just say it happened during shipping and then it's not their fault. I can super glue it.
How would it break in shipping? It's in a package. That
broken packaging. But
have you seen how people handle packages, Byron?
Also, I think I may have broken his neck taking his head off to fix it. So I need to figure out how to fix it. This has weird innards. Like this is all rubber right here, this chest piece. And so I popped his neck out of some kind of socket and I need to find how to put it back in now.
Oh, wow.
Wait.
This came off with the head.
Oh, yeah. Here's what you can do with it. Here's what you can do with that. Get like a hair dryer, right?
Yeah. You don't need it because it's rubber. I can just move it around and it'll work. So yeah, I'll be able to fix it.
But
the fun with Funko Pops.
Yeah, if you use a hair dryer, you might be able to soften it so you can.
Oh, I just have to take his arms off, dog. See?
There it is.
What's up?
Jesus Christ!
He's putting the neck back into the torso.
Just look at the Liger's been in an explosion.
Casey, show us what you're doing.
Just repaired his spine.
I just fixed him.
What did he put the spine back into the ball socket?
You gotta get his little collar back there so that his chest has some substance to it.
Oh, that's weird.
This is
weird.
This is rubber, and his crotch is rubber too, so you can squeeze his buns if you want. See, squeeze.
who made this toy? Who
Storm
made this
Collectibles.
toy? Well,
Storm
it looks shit.
Oh, dude,
take it easy.
Dude, I'll show it to you again when I
put it back together.
You could not play with this toy. I've used it with my eyes dead. He's exploded in the ring. It's like the T1000.
You wonder why I don't unbox anything anymore. I just leave it in the package. But yeah, so Casey's
going to
repairing.
take a while. Please continue. This is going to
I'm continuing. So anyway, Frog Splash for the win with a little help from the remnants of the crew, whatever is left of them.
The survivors minus Baal, B-Boy. Christian Bale.
I mean, it wasn't really a match.
But it was a scrimmage, but there was a pinfall, so it's a match, whatever.
Yeah, Chavo with the frog splash.
With the frog splash, heel move. So vignette number 2 is basically just Drago opening the big barn doors into the temple, coming in with the wings out again. Looks super dope. Totally a
great use of TV time. Great use of TV time. Showing the guy walking in a door. Are we going to need to see him every step of the way as he makes his way into?
Dude, it was simply like you could tell from the edit that Evie Dub was just like, oh shit, I have to use this. Skip gave me this random shot of Drago coming in and it's dope looking, but there's no substance to it whatsoever.
Yes, there is.
What's the substance, Byron? Give us the substance.
Okay. Every time we see Drago, there's a new thing in this episode. Like when he talks to Dario, he's talking and he does the tongue thing, you know? This one was when we see him with the wings the first time, right?
No,
we saw him on the roof at the very beginning.
And then does them again when he walks through the door. It's
but
redundant.
this one, he has a sun behind him, so they kind of glow.
That's what I'm saying. It's just purely a dope shot that Skip got somewhere, and Evie Dub was like, crap, I have to use this.
You have to use it.
Vignette number 4 is Drago at catering, knocking everything over because his wings are still out. He's
trying to eat with the tongue in his mouth.
And then somebody said something to him like they said to ADR, and then he knocks them all out with his wings.
No, then
his tongue fell into the punch bowl.
Then you see Zack Ryder sad. He's like, "This is the only place I'm allowed to be during the show, and you fucked it up."
Hey,
look, dude, it would be great if Drago's tongue fell in the toilet, and then he had to of that bathroom, and he had to fish it out.
Or they made an entire show about Drago's tongue making its way through the bowels of the temple.
Here's what I gotta ask you guys. Okay, Black Lotus, you're a liar. Right, Chavo says I'm a Guerrero, so obviously, you know. But the whole time, aren't they standing right next to Matanza's cell? Nobody notices the giant monster eating Bale in the cell right next to him. Like, Chavo has access to this room and doesn't say anything about Matanza? Really?
Lotus already knew. And Matanza, Chavo, I'm assuming knows because he's just cool with it like that.
But Chavo strikes me as the guy who would be a little bit squeamish. Like if you saw a man in a hockey mask eating Bale, wouldn't you freak out a little bit?
Doesn't he say enjoy the view?
Yeah, he does. He says you should enjoy the view.
And he's definitely not eating it then. He's definitely doing something else to that body.
The way that I would have booked it is I would have said Chavo say enjoy the view, and then as he walks away, he just pulls his ass out and moons her. And it's hilarious.
I gotta ask.
Maybe gave her the fruit bowl. Maybe tucked his dick between his legs and gave her a fruit bowl. I fixed the figure. Byron, feel free to give me the one anytime you want. I fixed him.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Jushin Thunder Liger. That's you. There.
Me sing the music.
His head's a bit tiny, isn't it?
Your dick's a bit tiny.
Yeah.
He's just yoked, bro. He's yoked.
Okay.
He also comes with this awesome entrance gear made out of real entrance gear. And
is that llama?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also got a wire, so you could be like, oh, I want to make it look like he's got a
Doctor Strange.
Like it's in space.
Yeah. It's like he farted really bad and it's being blown back. Oh, I think I'm gonna display it that way now that I say it. But I still gotta glue his horn because it didn't make it through shipping. But he comes with like 8 more sets of hands. So he's got like the fists, he's got little choppy hands. Let's see, what does he have?
Has he got the bumhole hand?
The Shoute hand?
He's got his let's see. I'm putting them on. He's like, let me at those titties hands, you know.
Just in front of Sex Pest.
He does have the Shote pose hands as I rip his arm off trying to pose it. Little delicate.
Oh. Can you swap his head and his arm round so he has an arm for a head?
I don't think so. The holes are different sizes. Oh, look. This one, he's like, my dick is this big. Hey, Liger, how big's Batista's dick? Oh, okay.
All right. So let me go to the Drago loophole or whatever he does here. So basically, the whole reason I get to have Drago for my first time in the temple is Drago. Cueto has made this match of anyone who has faced Puma.
He has gun hands. Look at that. He can hold guns.
That's dope. Why would he hold a gun? But that's still dope.
Why wouldn't he hold a gun?
Dario has made this stipulation that Anyone who has faced Puma in the past can face off for the number one contendership to the title at Ultima Lucha, which Drago says he was one of them, so he gets to come back. And Dario says, not so fast. If I'm going to agree to that, you have to say that if you lose against Hernandez, Cage, and Cuerno, that you will demask and be gone forever. Or if you win, you get to stay. So
okay, so we establish, keep in mind for future episodes when I bitch about this on the show, and I bitched about this to Roach and DJ, and they came up with some bullshit excuse. They said it was a mask and not his face.
Yeah.
They did.
Remember that.
At this point in time, they do say, because later they do tell us that it's his face, that he's an actual dragon. But now
Drago did tell us.
Drago told us as well. Yeah.
correct. But at this point in time, Cueto is saying we have to see the real face of the dragon.
He said,
Whatever.
I just took a title shot.
Now, maybe the issue is that this was one of those vignettes that was shot in both English and Spanish. Why they chose to use Drago speaking in English, I will never know. They should have just left it in Spanish with subtitles. I was perfectly fine with that. I think most fans of Lucha Underground were completely accepting of that. They did not need to have the Mexican luchadors speaking in English at any point in time. They never did it with Pentagon. Why do it with Drago? I don't understand.
Because they already made him speak English as Dragon Azteca like 50 times.
And season 1 of this show, by the way, had a Mexican version with Hugo. Was it Hugo and Vamp doing commentary? Who was doing the commentary?
Yeah, it was Hugo and Vamp. And that's also like Melissa and Dario had to film everything that they came out and said twice. And that's part of why Dario was losing his voice a little bit.
Has he done the Spanish version already or something? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, I thought it was interesting. And I watched a few of those season 1 episodes in Spanish too. And a lot of times I liked it better.
Yeah, the
announcement
shots look cooler too because it was darker and because they were like insert shot somewhere else.
Yeah,
and you didn't have Matt Stryker's face on the screen.
Well, and also you had that more like AAA kind of commentary with Hugo getting super excited, which I feel like
brutal.
Yeah, it's a big component. It's part of what made
Portito.
You know,
Paliga.
Hugo yelling is a big part of what makes Lucha Libre fun to me. Let's just be honest.
Portito. Oh God, he said it so.
I loved when he was yelling brutal. But I kept thinking of Mortal Kombat. I kept thinking, like, if I was looking away and he yelled brutal, I'm thinking, I got to turn back. Someone just lost their head.
Well, even when Stryker does it, when Stryker does get amped up, he doesn't know what he's. That gun is sweet.
Why?
It adds a lot to it. But
for the audio listeners, Casey just did a close up on a gun and it had this Jushin Thunder Liger's hand.
What's your name? Liger. Jushin Thunder. Liger.
Jushin Thunder Liger. All right. Anyway, so moving on. The Katrina is. I have to talk about this. I mean, maybe it's appropriate, maybe it's not.
Oh my God.
I have to talk about Katrina's outfit. This is one of her classics that she wore multiple times, or versions of this, where she goes to the full pants thing with the top, and the top comes down to. It's a thing. I wasn't mad at it.
I don't see you describing Johnny Mundo's outfit like this.
Oh, I will. When he gets to that other one, where he gets
Byron
to the
describes
more
cages.
That's true. She legitimately was blurred out looking like this.
It was great.
The way she was dressed had to be censored on the Mexican feed.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
that.
Great.
Yeah.
Jushin Thunder, G.I. Joe, whatever. That's G.I. Jushin Thunder Liger.
He's not going to put a finger in your ass. He's going to bust a cat.
Yeah, I mean, it almost. I almost think that she shouldn't have worn this because it really overshadowed the debut of one of my favorite trios groups, the Disciples of Death, with Trece, Barrio Negro, and Sinestro de la Muerte. They're a great team, by the way. I think I like all of these guys under these hoods better than some of their other incarnations.
Hey, I can't say that about Mariachi Loco in any of his other incarnations, but I can say that
he was
about
running the show in this match. He ran the whole match, which was amazing. And the match was against Mascarilla Sagrada, one of my favorites, Pimpinella Escarlata, and the debuting Bengala, who was the only wrestler I met at this taping when he came out afterwards. I think you guys were there too.
This is the Ricky Marvin era, isn't it?
What's that?
I got a picture with him, and immediately people were like, "Oh shit, Bengala's at Lucha Underground," and I'm like, "Oh, kayfabe that asshole!"
Yeah, really.
An NDA.
And Bengala was pretty good in this match. I will have to say this: does anyone get hit as stiffly as Masquerita does in any professional wrestling? Like everyone laid into him. So
anybody
hard.
who faces Fabi Apache.
Okay, yeah, I
They
agree with that.
picked him up. They like picked up and somehow swung his feet or something, and he ended up doing a flip and then ended up standing. And then they both double hand slapped him in the face down.
Like
that was great.
So hard too. Everything
Kimonito gets kicked off of.
Yeah, Kimonito gets it pretty hard too. But it's just amazing to me. It's like, I don't know if he tells people ahead of time, don't take it easy on me. And they're like, all right, here you go, buddy. I don't know what it is.
Don't take it easy on you because you're little. So,
but I mean, it looks tremendous. And as long as he's not getting hurt, fine by me. But man, he just takes some shots. And Stryker and Vampiro on commentary are hilarious with it every time. Like, it's just brutal.
It's because they saw him in the shower first, and they saw Nature's little joke, which is actually the size of a normal human arm.
Yeah.
And they're just like, no, we got to get revenge. This is just unnatural. Oh, look at that! He's got a cape.
Casey's in love with this.
Mine's on the way.
Shit. Anyway,
I'm kind of overselling it because Byron ordered it and his hasn't come yet. Did you get this one or did you get the black one?
Oh, well, here's the thing. Those are
Christmas karma. Presents. That's what that is, Casey. So that's karma.
You got me that one, and I got you.
Yeah. This is actually a Christmas gift from Byron because what we decided is because we both wanted it, we just bought it for ourselves and said it was the Christmas gift for each other.
Yeah. Little Hollywood accounting going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really. So Pimpinella does the Bezos thing with who is this guy in the crowd that got the big kiss from Pimpy this time? I've seen him there a bunch, but I don't know if I know him.
He's there a lot, but I don't. Yeah, he always is. He's there a lot, but I never met him. I never
think I did either. But hey, he deserved it. He was a regular. He seemed to play it up the right way, so I appreciate him. It was fun. And I popped hard for the Pimpy thing too. Another thing that going to Lucha Underground, I did not think I would get to experience, but having your first experience, have moments like this where it felt like you were at a fun event in Mexico.
I was so mad that your first experience wasn't getting kissed by Pimpy. I was so mad.
Hey, you guys were the ones that were sitting at the top of the bleachers at the time. I didn't know what from what. Like we started sitting down lower pretty soon after this, but at the time we were a little more the outsiders, I'll be honest. So, we kind of got into the mix, but we weren't like right up in it with our faces on camera sitting in the front row.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Justin. Did you say we were the outsiders?
Was Jim Velasco the fourth man?
Hey, yo. I heard you like Lucha Underground. Are you here to see Lucha Underground? Or are you here to see the NWO? Survey says,
oh, God. Oh, I shouldn't have done that Vince McMahon earlier. Justin, you weren't even here, but I went full Vince, and I'm still not good.
You pulled a Dario on yourself, man, but maybe it'll help you get over.
I'm genuinely terrified as to what doing a Vince McMahon is. It's a long list of things.
It was pretty cool though. We were up at the bleachers, like right on the top stair corner when Drago came back. We just like had the best view of that.
And we're in the newspaper image of Drago's entrance right there, which is pretty fucking cool. Because the LA Times was there during this. And they got me watching Drago enter, and I looked like I was dying of fucking heat stroke, which was probably real.
It was pretty bad that day. It was really hot up there, especially at the top of the bleachers. That was the other reason to move further down because the top of the bleachers was the and plus those windows behind there, that's right where the sun is facing earlier in the day. So it's heating up that whole section where the Technicos come down from the top there. But yeah, I was super excited. And if you see me on TV when Drago enters, I'm just lost my mind. I don't know what's going on. I'm so excited. I didn't even run over to the rail to shake hands or anything. I think Casey did, but I was just I did. I was like, oh my God. I felt like a little kid for a minute there. It was actually pretty exciting.
Come on, you're gonna not touch a dragon when you get the chance?
But dude,
I
I
reached over children to give Ultimate Dragon a high five. So
I did later and whatnot, but I think I was such in shock. I hadn't been at a wrestling show that I had actually enjoyed since, the ECW pay-per-view down in Orlando, Florida in '98. It had been a solid.
Just dropping that
I had fun at a wrestling show, and that was.
I was planting the seeds. Justin. I was planting the seeds to get included in the Believers Backlash match by backing up Drago immediately.
Wait a second, Justin. You used to go to ECW shows back in the day?
Never
heard it. Never heard it.
No one's ever said
Jim
that.
either. I never heard any of it.
But Jim, it makes sense.
Look at that bone arrow pose. Oh, he does the 360.
Anyway, I got to get through this next thing. The vignette, Mundo, Dario. Mundo's pissed that he's not in the match, but Dario's got other plans for him and says that next week, Mundo may in fact be the champion that goes into Ultima Lucha when he faces Puma in All Night Long #1, which will be one match, one entire episode.
Which I accidentally watched instead of this episode.
After he said, hey man, yeah, you can, we're going to do this idea that's never been done before, an Iron Man match.
I like it though. I think it was cool. I thought it was two hot announcements in the same show. I thought that was cool. I thought it was a bit cheap. I liked how they sort of navigated through two bad guys can still do business with each other. But I thought it was a bit cheesy that Mundo did the line, "You might be the best boss I ever had."
Yeah, that part was a little strange, but also felt very Mundo, and it kind of leads you to where his character gets to of like he can be this cheesy heel and you can have fun with it. Because Dario is basically giving him this opportunity for being a real heel and putting Alberto through a window. Yeah. So at least there's that. Mando and Jushin, this is so wrong what's happening. The last match, there's not a ton to say about it, but I think I liked some of the in-ring storytelling with Cuerno and Cage, especially them kind of doing some stare downs. Oh my God, if you watch this match and you don't say to yourself, what could have been with a legit Cage and Cuerno tag team? Like, God, I would love to see Cage go to WWE and team with Cuerno there, or whatever they call them these days. Like they were
a great team.
Like they were showing shades of LOD here with some of these, team up moves. I had forgotten, and this was the point in time when I had already started hating on Cuerno a little bit. So when I was there, I wasn't super excited to see him, but now going back and seeing the TV version of this, like the tag team type spots they were doing were some of the best I've seen in a long time.
Hating on Cuerno, hating on Sting.
I did like at the beginning when Drago was coming down and he did his big entrance, everyone was chanting. By the way, there was a Baby Nuts chant.
Yes. You're welcome.
Drago was like by far the biggest star with his return, and then they got a shot of just with the return heat that he had.
Yeah, it was there. I think that whole group around Vic down in the front on that side and us up in the back of the bleachers and Josh Pillow, I think a couple of seats in front of us.
We saw Josh. Yeah.
We were all firmly on the Drago chant side, even once Puma came out later. You can hear it too, even on the audio now, that it's like us on that side of the bleachers and those guys down front on the left-hand side of the bleachers. And then the rest of the entire place is chanting for Puma, but we're equally as loud chanting for Drago.
And I liked at the beginning when he got into the ring, they got this one close-up of Hernandez looking at him like, I got to fight a fucking dragon?
Dude, Hernandez was in good form in this match too. We've said it a couple times, and a lot of people hate on him, but perfect. One of the most perfect dives he's ever done was in this match.
You know what wasn't perfect about it? They didn't catch him. He went shoulder first into
But that's ground. Also why it was perfect, because he did it to a way that even if nobody was home, he wasn't going to die. He still did it full speed. He got the right roll through on it. He did everything exactly the right way. He barely got caught, and it looked perfect, and he stood right up and did exactly what he was supposed to do. The rest of the catches, other than that one, were really good.
Cuerno got caught.
Cage's moonsault from the top rope, Jesus Christ, amazing.
No one caught him.
But still amazing. Like he went all the way up on the top and did the moonsault to the floor, by the way, not to the ring, to the floor. Right. And like, it was nothing. Like, he was a 150-pound guy, you know? Kudos to Cage. Anyway, then you
great fun match. And the Mist debuted. And you could see a little bit of Drago. And this is when I think it became sort of an issue where even though they had 2 hard cams, none of them were at the bleachers. And that's where the wrestlers got their heat from. Because you see Drago did the Mist, and there's a huge pop from the bleachers. And he kind of like took a look and smiled like, oh, it worked. It got over. That was awesome. And then he finished the match. Then after the match, he's like cheering and like posing towards the bleachers. Yes. And so, you know,
but I'm telling you, that's because we were super live on that side of the room for him. And then the regulars who were in the crowd were just going storyline and going with Puma and this, that, and the other thing, and the guys that they knew. But, you know, Drago got the respect over there. Anyway, so we get to face off with Puma at the... Oh, what was this roll-up pin? This was the pin version of
Dragon's Tail.
Dragon's Tail?
Yeah.
A whip of a Dragon's Tail.
But doesn't he have the submission version of this too?
Nah, he doesn't.
No, it's always a pin.
That's always a pin. He does some other stuff.
It was great, though. It looked perfect. You get the face off Puma, the back and forth chants, some real heat going on there. You can hopefully everyone in the back was paying attention of like, yeah, this is a good matchup. This is over. Drago's the shit.
Speaking of hot action, the last vignette.
Yeah.
Katrina's giving Dario a little bit of the old Justin Roberts, if you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, look, another vignette that was clearly inspired on FetLife on the message boards there. And Katrina's choking Dario. So it's in the ghost fucking section? Yes. Yes. Okay. She teleports around. Now, this is clearly Katrina has powers now.
That's a real thing now. I don't know, it's like in the USA, but in the UK, we've had people marry ghosts.
Oh my God.
First of all, there was a movie called Ghostbusters that established ghost blowjobs. So,
okay. And also, you know, the film, what's it called? Can't remember now. Oh my God.
Clearly, she does have powers at this point in time. The lights were flickering a bunch when she came out with the disciples. She teleports and scares Dario for real in the office. This is the second time she's done that now. And she got her creep on and basically was like, wait a minute, you're talking about all these other people. And this I completely agree with. And Katrina is like, what about Mil Muertes? And Dario, correct answer, is like, oh, snap, for real? Like, I didn't even think he'd be interested. If that's the case, then sure, we'll work something out. Like, that was the correct answer. Because, like, you know, you give Mil whatever he wants. If he cares about the title, you put him in the title picture. If he doesn't care about the title and he just wants to murder Phoenix, you let him murder Phoenix. You let Mil do whatever.
The most important,
it's hard to get a read on
takeaway of the scene, Justin.
What's that?
She says that no one can stop Mil, even that monster you have in the cage. Meaning she knows what the fuck's going on, but she's already referenced the brother before, so it shouldn't have been a shock to Dario, but it was because of poor continuity by the writing team.
Well, the writing team is coming up with some of these ideas at the time too, I think. You know.
Yeah.
I know. Maybe I just like shitting on those guys. They're my friends. I love them, but I just like shitting on them once in a while because they had Pentagon lose at Ultima Luchados.
Well, look, I was very happy. This was my first experience live with the show. It was also a hot episode. I feel like this is, you know, the rest of what we have coming this season is pretty good for the most part. I think they really did start to get it dialed in. I think that DJ and some of those weeks off had a chance to kind of get feedback. The show was airing by now as well, too. So they're getting some of the internet feedback. And I think they're really learning what it is that they have here with Lucha Underground. And they're not just guessing at it anymore. So they start refining a lot of things from this point forward into what turns out to be a really good season 2, minus how it ended for Casey. But, you know, I'm really happy and proud that this was kind of when I got to really start getting more involved in Lucha Underground, and these guys were going all the time, and Jim was there. And I think it shows in the product that the fans were behind it. So I do have a couple other things I want to talk about. We still need to talk a little bit about Kenny Omega and Triplemania and the rest of his week. And a certain friend of the show returned to wrestling TV this week, and it was way better than Sting. So stick around and we'll talk about that right after this.
If you're listening to this and you haven't visited luchacentral.com, it's time to do it. luchacentral.com is the online home for Lucha Libre, where you can get all of the top news in English and in Spanish. Find the best curated video content and original content not seen anywhere else. Find when Lucha Libre events would be happening in your area. Find photo galleries from top photographers covering Lucha Libre around the world. From weekly polls to annual awards. Seen and read by top executives in all of the major Lucha Libre promotions across the globe. And on top of that, it's free. LuchaCentral.com, your centralized place for all things Lucha Libre.
Hey, Byron, I got a question for you.
Hey.
You watch
Sure.
a lot of New Japan, right? What the hell is going on with Kenny Omega? Are we really doing a belt collector thing? What's the future of Omega here? Because we saw him at Triplemania, which I want to talk about a little bit because I thought that was a phenomenal match with a handpicked opponent that probably stood no chance of winning because of that simple fact, who is currently not under contract, whatever that means. But what's Kenny doing? And does he have any chance of getting the Impact belt and adding it to this? What do you think?
I mean, certainly Kenny's best friend, the Hidden Glove, whatever guy, is an exec at Impact, so I'm sure he can swing some sort of deal to get a title shot.
Even if Moose is in that title picture now?
Let's be real.
Moose is a dick backstage, though, and there's no way I see them putting that belt on him and then him dropping it to Kenny. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, but Moose has his own bootleg replica belt, and he gets to pretend to be a champ, you know?
What figures can do this? What figures with his hands?
I know what you're doing. Casey. The thing with Kenny, and looking back at his Japanese booking, especially like his long-term storytelling with Ibushi, he's a guy who keeps track of his story and does long-term storytelling that can sort of come and go and not contradict itself and can pick up really easily. Like when Ibushi and him linked up like once, it was like red hot all of a sudden. They didn't have to add any backstory or anything because all the stuff they did at DDT was included. And now, he's back at the top, and all of his stuff that was just a little bit dormant is now there. Like he did an interview, talks about what could happen if Ibushi shows up, which is the obvious thing. But then he mentioned his Tanahashi feud, how like that could be picked up now. And I think it's just much bigger than just a belt collector. When I think of belt collector gimmick, I think a guy who has a little bit of TV star power on the indies.
You mean Austin Aries?
Like Austin Aries. Johnny Mundo.
I like the fact that he's doing little as well there.
Johnny Mundo
Ultimo Dragon and fucking great Sasuke, but maybe
even the Lucha Bros did it for a minute there.
Yeah, and I think that's cool, but I don't think that's ultimately, he might do something like that, but he's not showing the belts on the other shows. I think he's doing something a little bit more where he's just going to be he's going to get premier airtime and be a champ and have good stories across the border. I don't know.
He didn't even mention that he was the mega champion in the last week. He didn't even mention it. He said he's fighting in Mexico. They're giving him props for being this international star, but they're not even really mentioning the belt.
I wonder if he has it. He should have it, right?
He had it on Dark that one time.
Yeah. That's to me, it maybe because to me also, like for him to do a straight shot after AEW winning that, to do a straight shot as belt collector, I think that's the most obvious and the most boring direction of the story. And so maybe that's also why he's not going in that specific direction as hard.
Maybe, but it's like if they're going to leave the AAA belt on him, I want to see it get some of the shine. Like, give AAA some credit, make it feel like a credible thing that he's got. If he's going to pick up the Impact title too, I want to see him walk around with all three of these belts. I think it was Brendan who on the live stream yesterday was mentioning like, maybe the cleaner girls come out with all the belts and hold them for him. That's kind of the thing that I would love to see.
That was a great Sasuke bit. So I'm down.
Yeah.
I don't know though. Like Conan told us that he's super over in Mexico and he is good for a great main event match. For AAA. I see the value in him being their star, even if he doesn't promote it on another wrestling show. Impact, I don't know if they gained that much more than they already gained. Like they got 750,000 views across TV and streaming. I think
what they gain is firm development of the heel Kenny character.
But why does Impact care? Like that's an AEW thing. Of course they want him to be other people's champs. But Impact, By the way, Impact, I think, beat Raw in the demo, something like that.
But I mean, but look at this. The NWA women's title and the 20-year defunct, non-existent FTW title have gotten more push on AEW TV than a major current existing title that one of its top founding stars has been holding for the last year.
Well, let me tell you something there, Justin. First of all, you don't call the FTW title a non-existent title, or you will end up just another victim of the human suplex machine.
Oh, really, Taz?
Yes.
I love it. By the way, Ricky Starks.
Beat me if you can.
I love
if I let you.
I loved Ricky Stark's outfit. He is the star. He's the one guy in that group that you're looking at.
Let me tell you something about outfits there, Byron. Why was my boy Cage dressed up like a purple swollen penis when he went down in Mexico?
When he went down? Is that what happened now? I think you have your own answer.
That's why he's got a purple penis.
That may be a little bit of a Freudian slip from the human suplex machine.
Now we're getting back into backstage rumors at Lucha Underground.
No, stop.
Anyways,
beat me if you can. Survive.
We're like, here's another little study into your champion and what it takes to be a champion. You have Jericho as a champion. You have Moxley as a champion. These are guys who can work programs on a stick. They don't have to wrestle. And then you have Sheeta as a champion, who is a very worthy champion. She's great. And she, for a while, was the best in the women's division. But she's not going to go out there and do a 10-minute segment on a TV show every week and not wrestle and have it be interesting, because she can't cut the promo, and she's doing a lot better than a year ago, but still it's like you gotta keep it rare, or else it's gonna be.
What I didn't realize about championships in AEW until someone said it? Darby Allin was the first non-WWE guy to hold a male singles title in AEW, and now Kenny's the second.
But
does he count?
Kenny does it. He's good.
I mean, look, he's a star. He's a post.
No, but wasn't he a WWE
star?
He was in development for like a minute.
He was in OVW. Look, he was in Deep South.
Look, just to shit on AEW, I'm going to class Kenny Omega as ex-WWE talent.
No.
Wow. See, I don't know that he really is, because he didn't make his name on WWE. So I consider him kind of outside.
Does anybody? Most people make their name before WWE now, don't they?
Some of them. Just depends. Anyway, I get the point. But yes, Darby is the first completely, basically homegrown kind of thing that they have.
I think
Why
that's
do you have the TNT champion representing TNT by attacking people from different promotions? That's all I'm saying. I like that idea.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Gives the rub to the money.
He goes on dark. He's like, "What is this YouTube shit?"
Well, so I want to jump back though to Kenny and Laredo Kid. Like,
great match.
That match was really, really well done. I love the ring psychology, working the leg. Kenny is a master of these things. I liked everything about the match. I thought this was better than the Moxley match for a million reasons.
Man, because I know if I'm gonna finally do a psychology based match and I'm Kenny Omega, I'm gonna do it in front of a fucking lucha crowd.
But he did it at a time when there was no audience there. I think that Laredo Kid was a handpicked talent by him. There's obviously other people that AAA probably could have put in there, but I don't think that I don't know who he's going to drop the title to. We were talking last night that maybe Penta eventually would be a good choice, just because Penta could then drop to somebody else very easily. Whereas for Kenny, he's not going to wrestle Psycho Clown. He's not going to, there's not really somebody there. A great
Taurus.
name for Taurus could be good. That would be one of the ones I could see.
Fantastic.
I would love Vikingo to be that guy, but I don't think that they would put him over like that yet.
They planted little seeds here, which is cool.
Maybe. Those seeds are there, but it was a phenomenal match. If you haven't seen it, find it somewhere and watch the match. It's worth watching.
And if you haven't called Michael Nakazawa a no catching piece of shit yet,
I love the fact too that Kenny did the best catch of the entire thing after that to show everybody how you do a freaking catch. because Nakazawa blew his. Everybody blew their catches, but like his was spot on. It was perfectly done. It looked painful, but yet it was still totally safe and protecting. It was great.
Kenny's a little insight into Kenny when they were doing Bullet Club Elite stuff in New Japan. He would always come out with the Bucks for his main event matches, like during the Okada series and stuff. And they would be at ringside, sort of helping him out, working the match, but also like they would be there to help him if he was getting too hyped up and would overshoot his jumps. Like they don't have a big ringside area in Japan. And so you could get hurt or like hit the
right. So you have to really kind of do it exactly.
So like
right.
He had his friends there, and he would trust them with his life, so he could focus on like showing out and doing his thing. And they weren't in this match. They didn't come down, and so it amuses me to no end that despite all kayfabe, he brings Michael Nakazawa to be a second in this match. Makes no storyline sense whatsoever. I wouldn't be surprised if when they show the footage in AEW, they cut him out completely.
I'm guessing it was because he was already in Mexico for some reason. It has to be.
I
think he brought him down.
Kenny's travel buddy.
I think he brought him down probably to drive the car for him, and also
I think he's the translator. He speaks a bunch of languages. He probably speaks Spanish.
That could be it. That could be it.
He's there ringside to catch him on the dives, and they did a spot.
One job.
That's like there's no other reason for him to be ringside except for that one spot to catch him.
You're not getting paid tonight, mate. You had one job.
Really? Carry my bags. You didn't catch me. You're carrying bags for a long time, Nakazawa. Anyway,
it's like that Dominic whatever guy in the greaser gimmick who didn't catch Taker and ended up getting fired. And Vince McMahon
Domino. I mean, not Deuce. I'm sorry. No, Domino rules. Deuce.
No, I think
Jimmy
Deuce
Snuka's son. Jimmy Snuka's son was Deuce.
Yeah,
Domino's the one.
It was an accident,
So
but it was
Jimmy Snuka's son.
So he got blackballed.
I'll tell you the spot that Kenny blew this week. Kenny blew getting out of the helicopter. The most hilarious thing, I don't know if anybody else noticed it or not, but that was a 2-seat helicopter. There was no back seat. Kenny gets out of the helicopter. The camera guy, whoever's standing behind the camera guy, keeps telling him, you got to circle this way. You got to circle this way. So they have him finally circle so that Callis can run over there and look like he's getting out of the helicopter too. Like if you're trying to make your champ seem like a baller, can we get like a Bell Jet Ranger 706 or something with at least 4 or 5 seats in it? To have 3 guys in a 2-seat helicopter just was the most suspension of disbelief that I could not muster the entire week. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. And you cut back over to a winded Callis who literally ran over to the helicopter just to get out from the exact same spot where Kenny just was. Blew my mind. I was like, this is the worst thing on television this week.
Magnum PI and TC never had to deal with that shit.
Never. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. And that whole like walking to the arena thing, like they go out of their way to rent a helicopter or use Tony's personal helicopter or whatever it was, but they couldn't get one that was big enough for them to really look like ballers. Hilarious.
Tony wouldn't have a 2-seater. He would have one that you could put like 6 in the back. I've been in one of those.
She's a Chinook.
Yeah.
You don't want to fly in a Chinook.
I did like Callis's. I love, by the way, Callis is exactly what Kenny was missing. Kenny's promos, we've talked about it before, haven't been great. Like he's serviceable as heel Kenny or whatever, but having Callis just set it up a little bit and give you some context and do a little bit of the Heyman thing has been genius. And his welcome to the business kid to Shivani, I really loved.
Excuse me, sir.
I have a question.
Hey, Paulie.
Liberally from me.
Yes, they do.
When I'm the one who gave him the shot is the man that ran the network of TNN in my promotion,
which was a good angle.
That always reminds me of Kevin Kleinrock. Honestly, Cyrus the Virus always reminds me.
Microwaves a grilled cheese sandwich.
Yeah, really. Good Lord.
I have a quick question though. What was the Lex Luger thing that Kenny teased on Impact that he was supposed to do on Dynamite?
Oh, he was going to murder Miss Elizabeth, but it turned out she's already dead.
Sell some pills out of his garage.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
I missed that.
Go get some pills, kids. I got them all in my garage.
I do have a couple other quick points about AEW that I would just want to make. MJF versus Orange Cassidy felt like everything good from the indies from 3 years ago. I think that's exactly what AEW should be doing in small doses like this. It completely worked. I think it shows people part of what AEW was founded on, of bringing cool indie wrestling to the forefront. It was a total indie match. It didn't make a whole lot of ring psychology sense. It wasn't supposed to. For you old school wrestling fans that, you know, want to see a big, you know, Mid-South kind of fist brawl kind of thing.
Jim Cornette fans.
This is not the thing to watch, but this is part of what AEW was founded on, and they do need to do this. It's part of why these guys are stars. People like it. It is entertaining. That was a really good, fun match. Also, what was entertaining? TH2 versus the Young Bucks is greater than the Young Bucks versus FTR. Don't care what anyone says. TH2 is the second premier team in AEW next to the Young Bucks, period. I think they've realized it too. They're going to groom these guys. They're going to get their shot. It's going to be a little ways off. I think the Young Bucks have to play out some other storylines first, but TH2 is finally getting the rub they're supposed to get.
I just want to say, Antoine, my boy, thank you for listening.
I kind of feel my theory on it is that they were just waiting for TH2 to have the correct ring entrance music. Because if you go on Spotify,
there's man that can follow it.
There's like 5 different versions of it. And Jack is, by the way, Jack Twitch streamed watching AAA, and it was awesome. Rob Viper actually posted about how incredible it was to watch Jack cringe at and bumps Jack of all people. But,
Jack say take it easy on a crazy bump. Yeah. Oh god.
But Jack also, like, he alluded to on Twitter how Angelico is in contact with Mikey Ruckus about their theme music, wanting to change little things all the time. So maybe they just wanted to lock that in before they made their
maybe they finally locked it in as kind of like the Keith Lee push. We can't push the guy until we come up with some final music here, guys.
That's an interesting segue.
For you again. Oh, could you
go back to developmental to learn how to wrestle?
Weekend if I needs to, you know that.
Get that weird accent. Also, a couple of other interesting things. I really somehow like where they're going with Brandy Rhodes right now. She is crossing the perfect, you know, diva princess, which she is, with, you know, sassy black girl, which she also is. The Shaq segment was flawless, and Shaq, hilarious when Shaq is doing this smarmy, cocky thing, and the fact that him sitting down is almost as big as Brandy standing up. Amazing, loved it. I don't know about the Jade thing. That Jade chick is huge. Oh my god!
Shout out. I am concerned she knows how to work, but
same.
Shout out to the shot of Brandy Webb show when fucking Archer went on it, because he just drank all of her booze and kind of trashed the set, and it was amazing.
Amazing shot of Brandy.
I thought though that Shaq, he's supposed to do something with Cody. What's the big deal? What? I don't want to see a Brandy match build out of this.
This is to get Jade over. Cody and Shaq worked something out, and Shaq was like, there's this girl that I kind of like, that she real tall, and I want to see her. I think she could wrestle. I think she could do some big things for you, Cody." And Cody was like, "Oh, can we get you on the show?" And Shaq was like, "Yeah, I'll come on there." And then they were like, "Okay, handshake." And then Jade gets on, and Shaq gets some time on TV, and Cody is a happy guy.
That I want to point out that was Justin doing the Shaq impression. I don't want anyone trying to say I was doing a racist Shaq impression.
What are you trying to say? This is how Shaquille O'Neal talks, man.
No, it's exactly how Shaq sounds, which is amazing. That is one of the best. I
do 2 impressions. Shaquille O'Neal and Mike Tyson and Shaquille O'Neal are the only 2 impressions I've ever done any good with. That's it.
The Speedy Gonzalez Dario Plato is pretty good too.
It's amazing. I cannot do Tejano. But if Mike Tyson wanted to put him out, Mike Tyson could do that. That's exactly what I would do to him. He would come to my house, and then I will put him in the hurt locker next to the tiger.
That's have done before, though.
Next to the pigeons.
That's all. No, I don't play with birds anymore, man. Robin took all the birds.
I do love though how Shaq is like this pro athlete, right? And who's dominated the world in his sport undeniably, and he still has this this little slapstick sort of charm to him that's just incredible.
What you don't understand is when Charles Barkley is around, you have to command a presence.
God, I wish Charles Barkley was doing this angle instead.
After Brandy splashed him with water, the camera, and you could hear it, wah, wah.
I know, it was great. It was awesome. I like that. The other thing I will say though is that's a well-written segment, but the best writer at AEW is Chris Jericho. The inner circle thing needs to go a certain direction. Yeah. The way they played that segment was pitch perfect to be able to move forward. Yeah. Chris Jericho absolutely knows what he's doing. His time at WWE, more so than WCW, taught him how to craft programming. He really might be the demo god.
Yeah.
He understands something that no one else at AEW understands. I wish he would start writing more of their segments as he progresses through his career and steps out of the ring more.
Also, he's showing how to keep on TV in relevant segments while you cycle up and down the card.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
like, it's great.
Can you see
this? I have one of those.
Yeah, I have one of those. You know why I'm wearing this?
Why are you wearing that, Justin?
Because the most important thing that happened in wrestling this week that's going to change the face of wrestling, hopefully back to what it was when it was really, really good, the return of Karrion Kross at NXT. We got a little tease. I was a little upset that right in the opening segment, they did a previously on NXT thing where they showed a little bit of Karrion Kross stuff to let you know that he still existed. That I thought was stupid. If they were going to have him come back in this episode, if they're going to have him come back 3 or 4 episodes away and have this be the reminder, sure, made sense. And then when Scarlett came out first, sans Cross, I figured, okay, that's the setup for this week. Didn't actually think he was going to come back. I've known for a few weeks now that his return was imminent. I did not know what brand he was going to show up on, if he was going to actually do a Finn Balor thing, or if he was going to maybe jump up to Raw or somewhere else. I think he'd still be a great fit on Raw right now. I think they could use him, but we'll see. My idea right now of what is going to happen, I believe that he will get a challenge with Finn. I think that he will take the belt. And I think they will transition into some appearances at Royal Rumble and WrestleMania for Kross. I think they want to test the waters with him on the big stage before putting him there permanently. I think they want to see if he can really pop some merch sales, what his marketability is, if the gimmick has legs and longevity. I also think I think H wants to put the gimmick in front of Vince. And I think this is the time of year that you do that. I don't think Vince cares for Finn Balor very much at all. I think Finn is going to resist all of this.
It's so long.
I think he's going to have a huge problem with it. But I think Finn has officially been demoted to NXT top guy, and he's just going to kind of be in that orbit for a while. I don't see Finn getting much else than that. I don't think Vince likes him. I don't think it works for Vince. I think, they put the Universal Championship on him because everyone pushed Vince, and Vince was just like, yeah, it doesn't do it for me, guys. I get the underdog story. We did it with CM Punk and he turned on us. We've done it with Daniel Bryan and it only lasts so long. Like, I think Vince just didn't see it with Finn Balor the same way with some of these other underdog, smaller characters to go into the big time. And I think that Triple H wisely is realizing that Karrion Kross does not fit that mold. But I also don't know that they're seeing a lot of success with the Keith Lee thing right now. So it may be a harder road and they didn't with Aleister Black either. It may be a hard road for Kross up in Vince land. He can dominate.
The story about Keith Lee needing to learn how to work in Vince's eyes.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that because Keith Lee does need to learn to work the Vince style. Keith Lee has a great indie style that can get over in NXT combined with a little bit of the WWE style. But up on Monday Night Raw, it's a different thing. And Karrion Kross may have that same. I think that his style is a little more pattern to it, though. I think that
Kross has a good striking repertoire, and
he does.
WWE style is using brawling as your transition between spots, and it has been since the Attitude Era. It's a little more like finesse strikes now and pretty strikes and kicks and stuff than punching like it used to be, but it's still there.
But I mean, you look at The Rock, for instance. What got him over was that thumb slap on the thigh and his punches. I mean, that's 60% of a Rock match, and it was money. It worked. It works for TV transitions. It works for these commercial breaks mid-match that you have to have on Raw right now. So especially if he ends up on Raw, he's got to be able to do that stuff. And Kross also knows how to work in the rest holds. He learned that, and it wasn't something that he always did. He learned that, and those few years where he was working the indies and he was a top guy on the indies, where all of a sudden he's gone from doing these 5-minute squash matches in FSW and other places to having to carry a 40-minute match at some indie place. So he had, with veteran older guys like Shane Douglas and, these guys who've been around who aren't going to, spot fest on a match. As soon as he started working with some of those guys, I think he learned like, oh shit, I'm the young guy. I'm the guy who's got to work in the rest hold for 10 minutes, and he's learned that. So maybe he does have good success there, but I think that, we'll see what time holds, but I believe that he is going to take the belt from Finn on January 6th. And I believe that you will see him pop up at the major WWE events headed into WrestleMania season. Who knows what WrestleMania means? I think if it's in front of a crowd, which I don't know that it will be at this point in time, but if it's in front of any kind of crowd, that benefits Kross more than an empty arena. Because I think Vince needs to hear the reaction to Kevin Kross, to Killer Kross, to Karrion
to that entrance
Kross, to the entrance, to the pop from the crowd. Like, he's going to see that this guy is, next to Roman Reigns, his most over heel. Actually, I would say Roman Reigns, then The Fiend Bray Wyatt, then Karrion Kross.
I would say to that, we're so close to the end of no crowds in COVID. Now, I don't mean so close like we're weeks away, but we're relatively
within 6 months.
It means that WrestleMania
for it,
WrestleMania is going to fall just short of that. However,
but I'm talking about like Drew McIntyre's big coming out as the main event and the champ and stuff. He's done the best he could, and he is doing pretty well, but no crowd there for him to win the big one and for him to try and carry on as the centerpiece. It's flat, and it's like,
I think it was good for Drew, though. I think it got Drew over with people he wouldn't have been over with naturally. I think that when crowds do come back and you get Drew McIntyre out there now, he's going to get like a Seth Rollins level reaction. I think he's going to be a bigger star now from having been a champ during COVID. I think that it was unfortunate that he won the belt to such little fanfare, but I think for his overall longevity and overness, Drew McIntyre is going to have benefited greatly. He's going to be a top guy now, better than he would have been had there been crowds there. If there had been crowds there, I think they would have waned on him. I don't think what they wrote for him was good enough, nor would have been good enough. And I think it would have faded very quickly, and he would have been one of these 2-month champions. He would have been like a Sheamus run, and you would have never seen him at the top.
About to say Sheamus.
So
I will say one thing though, nitpicking with Kross. Thing is the vulture.
What about it?
So Karrion has 2 things. It means corpse, and is specifically the breed of crow in Europe.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to see a crow because and they do actually. They're called Karrion Kross because they actually scavenge on dead bodies. So I was like, I want to see crows more than vultures. And if there's a Sting argument there, where the Sting used to actually stand with the vulture, so there's no reason not to use a crow, and I want to see a crow because that's the little details that I love.
What are you saying, Kate?
Justin, show him the crow on your shirt, Justin.
Oh no! I get that, but what I mean is whenever they do these little like things of
video packages,
they use a vulture. And I'm like, I get it's native more made into America, but I Kross is part European.
Overall symbology is correct. It's Karrion isn't an alternate name for the guy who carries you across the river Styx. It's Karrion for feeding on the dead. It's Karrion for the crow that eats the dead. It's
no one called Karrion. No one called Karrion that.
It's a very vague derivation.
King Diamond didn't say it.
I agree with you. I thought it was a little off.
That's the barrier.
But look, I'm excited that he's back. I think it could change the landscape at NXT. I think he's good for heading into Royal Rumble and WrestleMania season, their big season. Again, I don't know how it's going to play without the crowd. I think he's going to play good with that little slight fenced-in crowd that they have in the CWC or whatever. So I'm excited for it. I'm glad he's back, and I'm glad he looks healthy and strong.
Cool jacket too. I like the shoulder thing. It was pretty cool looking.
I think that Scarlett also, I think this has given her a little time to catch up and really feel the character some too. I think not that she was doing bad with it before, but I think she was thrown into a lot of it, and a lot of it is Kross's ideology, and he's just kind of bringing her around. He's been doing this gimmick for 4 years or whatever, and he's pulling her into it. And I think it's given her time to develop her character to fit along with his well too. And I think she's going to have a pretty good run out of this herself and get into the character more. And I think Vince is going to love her. I don't know how much she's on Vince's radar yet, but as soon as she sees him coming out, this is the new Macho Man and Elizabeth for Vince right here. If he gets a load of them in front of a crowd, I think he's going to love it.
Hey, Paula, good work.
Really like what you did.
Good work there.
I'm writing her into my segment next week. Pervert. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. There was a great Triplemania. There was a good time with this Lucha Underground episode. Lots of stuff with Kenny Omega this week. And welcome back, Karrion Kross. So until next time, stay calm and stay in the mix.
And don't cook cheese sandwiches in the microwave.